wait for Figma to open up, then I got to go to the gym, or apparently hell is upon me very, very soon. So we'll wait to do that. But yeah, good day so far. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Adara, Fabian, Andre, everybody for making the best of it. Thanks, Brendan, as well. And once again, thank you to Kevin for coming through. You guys can probably go find some of those clips maybe on socials or rewind it if you missed them around 10:50 or so. Kevin O'Leary. So, all right, man, good luck to everybody on Figma. I'm taking the long no matter what price it opens up at, to be honest with you. So we'll wait for that, see what happens. Looks like it might be getting close
it may be.
As we're down to 3 million.
Or it could be 1 o'clock, who knows?
Or it could be 1 o'clock. Sharif is going to be on that no matter what, so will exactly. Joseph. So pay attention to that. It's the midday show. We're off to them right now.
Okay, I got it. Assassino, I'm not plugged in for a little bit, okay?
Not tapped in.
And I am boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the midday show. This guy was trying to take money off me a second ago. That right there is your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif, and I don't even have the chat open, Joseph.
Ooh.
Only reason is I just worked my way in from the bank.
I know you did.
You're gonna have to do it.
I got it. I got you covered today, man. What an honor and a privilege to be able to do the roll call today. Who do we got? Ooh, Scott H says, Speedo Joe, what's up, brother? We got David Dua, Juan Padilla, my guy. What's up, everyone? 1989. Hey, yo, what's up, Ayo Lewis? Who else do we got in there? The Big Joel 360. Taylor Swift, what's going on with that one? Who do we got? Rishad, Alexander Dreamard. What's going on? General Apps. Hey, what's up? I like General Tao Chicken. But that's what we like. Dude VS, Juggernaut.
Why is everybody?
Don't lean too far. I got bad eyes, says Assassino, but we're gonna see how two we got. New Abundant. Who else? We'll go through a couple more. Kirk D 415. Where's the regulars at? Where's my guy Gorev at?
No,
I need to see you up in the chat. 420 Bud Monster. Okay. We know what you were doing. Probably every day now. Yeah, we're rolling on that one there. Why not? Why not? Why not? That is my motto these days. Ayo Lewis, and why not? Just because. But hey.
What?
Listen, for those who have seen this movie, it's an older movie, A Perfect World. I forget. I think it's with my guy Costner. Yeah, this is the Butch, the look I'm going for with that one. A Perfect World, a good one. I like that.
You needed to explain that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's what we're going on with that one for all my older individuals. We'll go a couple more names. Liddy Bands, what's up, brother? I hope those bands are super lit today, and that's exactly what we want to see. Not as exciting as Sharif's roll call, but we're doing it live, baby, and we're bringing a Perfect World look. Butch,
we're gonna have to get you to do that every day, bro. You did that too well. Yeah, I mean, like you do it too well.
I had to read it like this.
You catch new assignments. I don't know. All right, guys. Look, I just weaseled in. I was at the bank right now. We were getting the loan release letter on the car. You know, going to the bank is a real pleasure. I gotta tell you, waiting 45 minutes at the teller, there's nothing better. I would rather not be punching into positions. I'd rather be at the bank waiting to speak to the phone guy multiple times. You just don't talk to the teller at the bank. You get the privilege of talking to the other guy at the phone in some faraway, distant country who speaks perfect English, by the way. Everything was totally understandable from their end. The experience was fantastic. I absolutely enjoyed it.
Tell him.
I'm sorry, guys. Yeah.
Tell them.
All right, here's what we're looking at, though.
What are we looking at?
Let's get to the real stuff right now. And SNGX is the real freaking deal. Look at what this one is doing. I just sat down, take a gander, see what's moving, what's breaking out on the scanner, what stands out at you right away, SNGX. Look at the parabolic nature. 4 1/3. I thought this was going to halt at 430. Nuh-uh. It's got the juice to let more loose, or we're going to have to wait and see. Let's throw on the ticker there and do some TA. So right off the bat, you can see the basically all the retracements essentially from 940 onward. So a little bit after that bell rang have been into the 10 EMA on the 5. Alas, we are getting kind of extended away. And last time we did that, check out that 1040 candle, we pulled back in a little bit. So never saying that you're going to get a certain pullback into the 10 EMA on the 5, but be on the lookout for it. If you've got to shadow it with a resting order, do that. Or otherwise, you know, just get ready to punch. So SNGX, Joey, the #1 gapper on my scanner, but I'm seeing a competitor here, ELWS. Let's talk about this one as well, because I believe it is halted to the downside, but still up nicely on the day, about 518. Yes, I am correct. It is halted at 518. We'll have a look at that tap in a second. Now, a couple of good things right away I see. Obviously, it's not a good thing that it down halted, but it's at the 10 EMA, literally at the 10 EMA, that 518. And generally, look at this area of resistance. That 5 to 510 area was a hard area to break, on the way up before we drop back down into that 420 area. So, you know, previous areas of resistance, they just have a way of acting as support once they're cleared. So I'd like to see what this one does when it's open. Let me take a gander over here and see what the theoretical auction price. We're talking about ELWS, Joey. EL, what are you printing on?
Oh, yeah, we're cooking
second.
up
We're
here
just
on
going to
the,
tell everybody
go ahead.
tap.
Tell them what you got
so the
going
tap
on.
is actually 518. Let me just make sure this is not a New York stock because, no, it's on the Nasdaq. So we should be getting the updated tap. So ELWS will certainly be in focus, Joey. We're going to keep tabs on that. Show them what you got, baby.
All right, man. We're just cooking up here in the TQs. We got a couple trades to go through, but first, we got a super chat, $5 from our guy, Big Spile. Guess who he's tormenting? Me.
Obviously.
That's all right.
He's been messaging me about your Speedos lately. Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Beetlejuice, man.
I know it's Beetlejuice, but like, why is he on the screen? I thought they would be like parody.
This is what we do. I told you, man. Say, hold on here. Never mind this, man. All right. Joe, just tuning in. Why is Beetlejuice co-hosting? Are these shoulder pads in there, Joey? No, this is.
Hold on. What's the rule? If you say Beetlejuice's name 3 times, what's that thing?
Yeah, we don't play those games.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I know you're all about that. You're Caribbean. You got that, background. I get it. But Beetlejuice is a little bit different. Right. What's the rule, Katina? May somebody answer me. What is this? Is it 3 times? It's 3 times. He appears.
Oh,
are we gonna call him?
No, please. I don't want anything showing up out of the mirror or anything like that. But thank you for that $5 super chat. But no, these shoulders are strictly built off of dips and push-ups, my friend. Another $5 super chat from our guy, ST. Okay, yeah, we're not going to repeat that one right here. We know what we're saying. $5. Thank you for that. Sup, guys? I got SOFI 1 DTE $23 puts for pennies when it hit the top today, and everything is rock and roll in SOFI. Shorts are today's hot chick. All right, then. We like that one. Yeah. But other than that, guys, let's get back to these markets. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you, ST, blah, 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 for those super chats. Obviously, much appreciated.
Sir.
And I'm glad that you printed on those 1 DTs. That's fantastic. But what were we trading today? We traded a couple names. So that is going to be Robinhood. We took a short right off the top. We did get stopped out. I'm like, you sly buggers, you. You get me out, and then you continue that move towards my primary target, which was the volume-weighted average price. But we won't complain. We'll take that. No questions asked. And then we also took a couple stabs at our good friend SOFI. I know Neil was in this one this morning.
Bang.
Initial entry, looking for the continuation in strength. We get stopped out. Bang, we hop right back in, and we piece that one out right there, guys. So that was SOFI. And then I also took a break-even trade on NCLH. Just take a look at NCLH. NCLH. And we'll pull this one up on the noisy and see what we got going on there. And I'm glad that I got out of this. Up 18, at the time I was trading, it was up roughly around 18%. And I'm like, ooh, okay, we're gonna continue on this. So we hop in, we add to the position, and then eventually I'm like, no, something flipped on the tape and it wasn't right. Money wasn't tight, but it wasn't right. You get out of that trade for sure there, Sharif.
Yes,
those
sir.
who remember that commercial.
Yes, I do. You reminded me about that. Everest,
I don't
right?
think it's an American commercial, though. I think it's just Canadian.
I have no idea.
So for all my fellow Canadians, if you remember that commercial, money wasn't.
I remember it was like always on during like the midday, right? Like on the, whatever, Murray Povich or whatever was playing midday.
Murray, yeah. It was on at
Murray.
late nights.
Was it Jerry? They did Jerry. Murray. Sorry, bro. It shows you how much I know. It was crazy. I mean, everybody running on there with paternity tests. Like, what's going on over here, bro? Let's get some family-friendly stuff going on. All right, here's the deal. Chilean Nightmare is like, nah, I don't want that family-friendly stuff. Come on, Fabian. Here's the deal, guys. ELWS got a double bottom here at 4 3/4. Alas, it is trying to work its way back above the volume-weighted average price, but ELWS, excuse me, is displeasing me greatly. Mostly because of the spread. Right now, it's about like 20 some odd pennies, a little bit wider at times, a little bit narrower. This one's going to be tougher to trade, especially if you're trying to scalp, but be on the lookout for a hold of this level. It seems to be encountering some support at this previous area of resistance. As we spoke about, this $5 area was a tough area to clear. Let's see if it can hold back above it or whether it's destined to head back down. But all the rave right now, at least in my world, is SNGX. This is the best, the baddest of them all right now. It's trying to dance with 5. Let's get involved over here. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's not letting me in. Tell me this one's not blocked in our... Come on, bro.
You're in.
Oh, finally. Look how many times I had to punch in. And like at a bad price, too. Yeah. Great. Let's see what else we got over here. Let's put some beak wetters into that $0.25. Looking to defend 5, but if it loses 5, we're just so extended off this level. So let's see exactly what happens here. Yeah, it does look like it's going to lose 5. If it breaks this candle low, what's the candle low right now? 476. Let's have a look over here. Let's see if we can get a little bit more there. What's going on? Look at this. It's not letting me add. Bro, this day is going to be good. I can just tell you from now. It's going to be a good one. Right there. I just tried to add, didn't let me in. So let's keep an eye out on this one, Joey. Right now, we're having some issues executing. There we go. Now we get the ad there.
There we go.
Into 05s. Let's post up here some into the mid 5s. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get out on current bar low, right? We'll set up a little bit closer to the 10 EMA. So we're going to go ahead and throw a stop order for the break of 70. If we can hold that level, it will be good. If not, it's all good there. So that's what we'll do. We'll throw in current bar low for our out. We'll see if we can clear back above 5. It's a 519 high day. This is up prohibitively on the day, 296%. It just cleared 5, but you know, it didn't clear it far enough to say, oh yeah, definitely we can use this area support. It's taking out all my orders right now. Let's see if it can work its way up a little bit more. There it goes. It's taking out all my orders. All right, there we go again on this one. Let's see if we can get some more out over here in the mid 15s. We got 03s on at the moment. There we go. Wet the beak a little bit up here. And now we're going to throw some at the $0.25. Let's see if we can work up into the quarter and then the third, right? We're putting in higher lows, so I still have my stop at current bar low. We've taken out some nicely over here. Let's see if we can get that continuity. 530 exactly is the high of the day right now. We're looking for that 5 1/3 pop. I've got an order also at 5 1/4. So that's what I'm looking at right now, Joey. SNGX up about 307%, and we'll see if it's got the juice to keep going over here.
Cool, good stuff there. Yeah, so everybody wants to see the imbalances. Shylock, you seen that? No, I will never ever stop. So don't even tell me because we won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. All right, guys, Fig, there it is. Pardon me?
Go to Dare when you can.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Fig NY. There it is, 2.5 million. I think this is correct, but this is what you guys want to see. So we'll keep an eye out on this for when it does open up, guys. All right. So keep an eye out on that one. Here it is. We're starting to continuously kick up in the TQs off of those lows, and we're still steady grinding higher. We'll take a little bit more off here, guys. So this was a positive trade. Did I show? Yeah, I showed you guys my NCLH trade. It didn't work out for us. I think that was the only one where we did have somewhat of an error. And I mean, it was a flat trade. We got out of that one break even. Considering the size, it's just like, all right, not working. It was either the tape was confirming it was going to work out relatively quick. You see that flip and you just get out of it as fast as you can, and you can see what happened preceding, obviously, the exit of the trade. So that's what we got cooking up. SOFI was decent. Needed to add significantly more shares on this one, but it is what it is. We'll take it. And then now we are trading TQQs. Robinhood was a really nice short, especially all the way back towards the volume-weighted average price on fantastic numbers, too. I love that stuff, man. I'm so happy to see that gold membership up 75%, over year, up to 3.5 million users on that gold membership. So yeah, let's go, man. There's a lot of positive stuff, and I talk about this quite often, and I've been trying to tell some of my friends, we're going through some revolutionary changes, man, just with the fact of what we got going on with AI, and then obviously tokenization of everything. So there's ways that we can take advantage of it. It's our job as traders to try to find and identify these game-changing scenarios and look to base trades off it, and that's exactly what we've been doing. So that's a good look there. TQQ's still long, Sharif.
Yes, sir. Okay. Keeping my eye on SNGX. We're out of this one, looking to get back in. We still got higher lows. So we just opened up a new 5-minute candle over here. We're dropping down below 5, which is why I flattened out. Flattened out for a 3-penny winner on the last remaining amount. The best print we had was 530, but it's losing the bid. I am concerned that this one makes a new low relative to the prior bar. The prior bar's the low of the prior bar is around 70, low 70s, okay? Here we are, now we're catching a bid again. Now I know for a fact there's a seller at 10. There has been, and there he goes, just absolutely got blown out of the water there. Good look for this one. Let's see if it's got the juice to take out some more over here. So let's see if we can get a little bit higher into that kind of 540-ish area. Seller at 20 now with a big price spike up. Trying to hold the $0.25. There was a good buyer there at 510, but he kind of just got absolutely shellacked. It doesn't seem, though, that we've got the juice to kind of keep going above 5. Every time we wick above 5, we're being met with aggressive selling. So let's see if we can keep an eye out on that. Here we go, back into that 5.25. Again, aggressive selling into that 5.25 area. 527's now showing up. Let's post up here a little bit for some more. And I'm also going to try to take a bit of a dip trade in the mid-teens to see if I can weasel in some more here at around 15. If I can, that would be cool. Holding this one, I do like the pattern that this one is holding at the moment with the prior bar low. So we got 22s on over here. Let's go ahead and post at 20 in the late 20s there. Again, looking for the hold of prior bar low. That prior bar low is 475. So that's where our out goes. We'll give that one all the way down to there, and we'll give it a little bit of room. Again, still waiting for that continuity above 5.25. There are wicks that go into 530. There's been several wicks actually that go into 530, one at 1138, and then the one at 41 over here. So trying to keep that price above 5, but for the moment, we're going to go to Adara, see what she's got.
You guys just spoke about it a little bit, but I want to talk a bit more here about Robinhood earnings with regards to crypto, specifically their year-over-year crypto increase. They had strong revenue across the board. Of course, net revenue increasing 45% on a year-over-year basis to $989 million across the board. But their crypto sector revenue up 98% year-over-year, reaching $160 million. By far, that was their largest growing segment and ahead of a whole bunch more crypto-themed earnings tonight. We're going to look at these charts and get into some of their estimates. Coinbase pretty choppy today. Coinbase expected to report at 4:20 p.m. We're looking for earnings of $1.71 per share, revenue of $1.53 billion. Riot, that one's coming at 4:30 p.m. Again, looking pretty similar to Coinbase in terms of just this chop and this sound wave kind of pattern. RIOT, we're expecting a loss of 19 cents per share, revenue of $149.8 million. MSCR, last but not least, although they're actually going to be the first to report today, nice push to the upside, more directional than the other two. We are expecting this one to report losses of 12 cents per share and revenue of $112.15 million. Let's look here at BTC. This is the 15-minute chart for BTC. Definitely finding some nice support. This goes back to yesterday, around 3 at that 115,000 level. That would be our Fed low. If we look at the daily chart, though, this remains super consolidative, and it looks like it's still poised for that bull flag breakout, maybe into new all-time highs around 123,000. Let's take a look here at ETH. Similar bull flag, farther from all-time highs, but Ethereum, certainly not one to sneeze at. Let's see if we can break that most recent local high we got on Monday. That would be around 3,941, so just shy of 4,000. Can we break 4,000? Let's find out. Back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that, Adara. And yeah, fantastic. Way to point that out about the crypto revenue. What I'm seeing is 160 million and with 98% year over year, so slightly below. So yeah, fantastic stuff. I don't know. We've been talking about this for quite some time, and when it first came to my attention with Robinhood is when that crypto growth and just use across the platform, it was triple digits across the board, 700% in crypto transactions, 100% plus in options activity, user growth, gold subscribers, and that's what really led me to that name and rotate out of a name like Tesla into a company like Robinhood, who's knocking on the door of, I believe, $1 billion in revenue, which I think will happen by the next quarter. There's no questioning that, considering it's up 45% year over year. So that's what really led me to Robinhood, Sharif, is just that growth. Those couple quarters of just sustained growth, 700%. Now we're seeing 100% essentially in that space. So I think it's a name that you really want to take a look at. And for me personally, I think that it's going to continue to grow. Can things start to accelerate and pick up? Maybe, possibly. It's definitely on that path, but just a slight miss on analyst estimates. But that's okay, because things are going to change, in my opinion, right? Considering that we have the Genius Act, more transactions. Kevin O'Leary was even talking about, hey, now I have a company in Canada, I have a company in the US, and now we can just do transactions essentially cost-free from what he was paying before. So yeah, it's a big time positive, and this is what I'm talking about, just taking advantage of the change going on around you, tokenization, stable coins, and especially AI. So just keep that in mind, guys. There's definitely opportunities. And what I was thinking about before, for me, I'm bullish in this market as long as CapEx stays where it's at. And if they continue to spend more, well, guess what? I'm even more bullish. Until I see that capital expenditures start to cool off, I'm super bullish on this market for the foreseeable future. So that's exactly what my mentality is. And it's a buy the dip scenario. You get any form of a pullback in the likes of Nvidia, Meta, or some of these hyperscalers, get involved. So that's exactly what I'm looking for and going to continue to do as we trade these markets. It's just taking advantage of things. I wasn't a part of the COVID training. The trading, which was absolutely fantastic, but it's just, again, another kind of crisis that we experienced, and then now we went through the tariff. It's like, okay, now when we have these massive fundamental changes, look to take advantage of these things, especially from a trader's perspective, Sharif.
All right, guys, we're still involved here with SNGX at the $5 area. Still zigging and zagging at 5. It's got a good-looking bottoming tail candle that probably got a lot of people out. I actually added into that area over there, but here we go. 510 basically now. You're seeing selling. Let's see if we can scalp out some. Yeah, there's just so much shorting here at $5. You just feel there's a lot of selling in this area. Having trouble clearing it. We are putting in now lower highs off that level. So this is a bit of a downturn here, even though we're getting buying, on the dips. It's not sustained. That's kind of my feeling right there. So I think that this one's probably better to set up or to have a larger position at the 10 EMA or around maybe that volume weighted average price. But the volume weighted average price is far removed from the current price action right now. It's at $3. We're trading at 5. So this one, yeah, we're a little bit out of the money, or about 10 pennies out of the money on this one at the moment for the last remaining amount. But I was able to scalp up nicely there on that pop into about 520. So we were able to scalp a little bit, but still holding some here into this $5 area. So that's what I'm packing my patience on. I'm looking to actually add into this one, but I just want to see exactly where the buyers are stepping in. Last time around, they stepped in at the $0.50. So if we lose the $0.50, that'll be lower highs and lower lows. So that's not going to be the move. All right, here, let's see if we can get a little bit over here. And then, yeah, just as I tried to add, there we go. Now we've got 95s on. Let's see, 99s, excuse me. Let's see if we can scalp up into that $5 area. Still keeping my eye on this one. I like the higher lows that I've got on the 5-second chart, but very cognizant of the fact that we have lower highs because the selling comes in quite aggressively into that $5 area. Looking for a price spike up over here on SNGX, but anything below the $0.50, gonna have to clear this one. I could have a resting order in the mid-60s to front run what could be a higher low. Right, so here's what I'm seeing on my chart, my 5-second chart, with this area being the area low, and this is where we currently are. So if we do break this level, I'd like to get out. But if we hold it and we come in and test it, maybe in the mid-60s, low 60s, that could be, you know, possibly the precipice for a really good entry. So that's what I'm thinking about there. Just keeping my eye on this one as it zigs right back into that $5 area again, being met with some selling. And again, we still have a lower high. Excuse me. I think I said high or low, but we still have a lower high. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on right now, Joey. Just really focus on SNGX.
Cool. Yeah, good stuff there. And shout out to my buddy, Brian. He's in the chat as well, too. We were just talking when we were driving up north, just talking obviously about the markets. And he's been sitting in some Palantir since 19 bucks. So he's doing really good. And he's just doing his due diligence. And he's also rotated into some BMNR. So really good work from there and just trying to take advantage of what's going on around us. So yeah, really good look there. And thanks, Brian, my friend, for tuning in. Fantastic weekend as always, for sure. So there it is, guys. TQs, we're still cooking up in this trade. We're all out of SOFI and everything else. You can see that we had this SOFI earlier in the day. It then pulled back through the volume weighted average price. No holding of that specific level considering the session that I had yesterday. And then now we're just cooking up here in the TQs to see if we can even get back to the volume weighted average price. I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be the case on today's session, considering how the price action is feeling. So you can see what's going on here with the PA and the volume starting to pick up as you accelerate to the downside. But we were just long off of this specific doji. I don't see my guy Gorev in there. I'm curious if he's long anything up there. So yeah, that's what we got cooking up. There's actually one thing that I want to touch on, and Gorev, Los Polios, Pug Life, a lot of individuals in the chat use this methodology, but it's with NCLH, and the reason what made me hold it and then also get out, I think is really, really key. And I kind of want to break this down. So here it is, right? So you see the strength within the buying pressure, but I'm long here. I sat through this pullback. Why? Specifically because the volume fell off a cliff through those candles. If it started to accelerate, then I would have got out of the trade. Now, as we start to pick up and head northeast once again, volume starts to accelerate. You see the increase, so I add to that position. Now, we continuously moved higher. I didn't take anything off, but why did I get out? Is look at this candle right here, this volume candle. I'm like, uh-oh, that is not a good sign. We were either going to continue, break and hold through those pre-market highs, or we were going to fail. And then as soon as I seen that small print, there was no effort within that candle, I'm like, okay, tape is about to flip, time for me to get out. So that was just literally using the volume price analysis in real time by helping me get into a trade, add to a trade, and then get out when the market is telling me. Does it work all the time? Absolutely not. But in this instance, it worked absolutely picture perfect trade.
All right, guys, we're going to get stopped out of here of SNGX if it drops below the $0.25. That's my line in the sand. That is the 10 EMA. I'm DCing into the 10 EMA. I don't even like how I'm trading right now, to be quite honest with you. But if it finds support here and rockets back up, then maybe I won't feel so bad. We got 75s on now, so we're 25 pennies out of the money on this one. So we'll keep tabs on it, obviously, but not very happy with how I'm executing here. A little maybe exuberant at the top when it was showing me that maybe I shouldn't have been punching in as aggressively with those topping tail candles as well as the lower high. So it is finding some initial support over here at the 10 EMA, but I kind of have a feeling it won't be sustained as I'm looking at the 5-second chart and it looks like we're putting in another lower high. So I've thrown in my stop below the $0.25, it come what may at this point. I also want to bring to your attention NEGG, one that we've been watching for days now. And every day it's got double digits in terms of a percentage up on the day. And today, no different, 40.5%. It's much more expensive than we typically trade. About $45 was the closing price yesterday with a $64 high. It's quite spready. Right now, it's about $1.50 on the spread, but it's got a lot of parabolic nature. And just take a gander at what it did yesterday with the continuation into today. Oops, just allow me a second over here to load up set charts. So yeah, what a move up. Yeah, I just got stopped out there of SNGX, so we'll take a hit there. But NEGG, what a fantastic look this one had yesterday, or was it yesterday? Not yesterday, sorry, the day prior. Yes, this one was running up aggressively the day prior, has a bit of a down day, basically gives back 2/3 of the move yesterday. And then today we're trying to get back and make new highs. My monitor just went out, guys, just allow me a second. There we go. we made new highs above the day prior close, so or the day prior high. So that was about $62 today. We cleared that level by about $2, excuse me, up into that $64 area. So NEGG, very strong, but very expensive and quite spready. Let's not forget ELWS. This one now is using the volume weighted average price as resistance. So it was prior to that, we had been using it as support, now using $5, which is VWAP, as that resistance area. So this one likely to lose its spot for me on the side chart any moment, unless it really starts changing its tune over here and getting back above. Looking at my scanner to see if there's anything else moving, I see this one VRME. Let's load this one up. New one on my scanner, didn't have eyes on this. VRME, let's load that one up. $1.48 high a day. It's at a $1.43. Just really got going there. It looks like a few minutes ago at around 11:45, rocketing up into a $1.48. So we'll put this one on the side chart over here so we can do a little bit of TA, VRME. A lot of topping tails into this one, though. Be careful. Most of the topping tails were in the pre-market, but this one technically now has cleared the pre-market high. The pre-market high was a $1.44. Now we've got a $1.48 on our hands. The issue is, though, that it's very wide range per candle, and we didn't clear the pre-market high by that decisive of an amount. So keep your eye out on this one. It could be a good one. I'll definitely be involved in this one, Joseph, if it can clear that $1.50 and hold above there.
Absolutely, guys. I'm just thinking here as well, too, within this TQ's position, is it worthy of being added to? I don't know, just considering how weak the overall market is. Are we going to start to stall out and curl back around? So I'm just keeping my eye on some of the bigger names to see what they're up to. I mean, I feel like Meta wants to take an additional leg higher, but it's just got to take some time on that one. So be patient, and there it is. If you grab the lower end of the range, if you add up here, then obviously that's going to just drastically improve your risk to reward, and then you go for the break of this key level right there. We can zoom out and go to a higher time frame, like the 3 minute. I think that's going to give us a little better picture of what's going on, but you can see knocking on the door of 90.82 on that one. So yeah, gonna be patient with this one. 2NY, yeah, you were talking about grab. Obviously, you know how we get down, right? There's some liquidity issues. It's weird because in the pre-market it seems relatively liquid, and then sure enough it starts to cool off as you get into the latter half of the session. Holding up VWAP relatively well, but you can see that there's consistent lower highs throughout its price action after this consolidation. So just be careful on what's going on with that. Just do basic TA and just draw your trend lines, and then if it snaps and holds above, then maybe you'll get in a little bit of a move to the top side. All right, so just keep that in mind. Let's go TQs right back to where we kind of wanted to be. This was the ad opportunity, so just keep that in mind here, guys. Got to be patient, but we'll grind. How much do I have left? I have under 20% of what I had from the original position, so we've already pieced the majority of that out. So yeah, I'm just cooling. I mean, we had one loss on SOFI and then a break-even trade on NCLH, and then the rest of it was good. Robinhood was a pretty good short. I wish I had the continuation in that one. It was choppy, but why was I short this? Let's just break this down. So patience was really key, and I'm glad that I was slightly more patient this morning. On the 5 minute, okay, that's weird. That's not exactly what I was saying. Maybe it was the 1 minute. It was more. So yeah, it's weird. Okay, so this is where it started. I'm like, ooh, okay, are we ready to kind of sell off now? Especially you have this isolated pivot. After this engulfing candle, you get that inverted hammer, but no, it breaks through the top, continues to climb higher, but then eventually we had the ability to just catch that peak and get that move down to here, and then this is where we got that break-even stop out. So nothing decisive, pointing out that like, hey, we're ready to turn around, but there's some volume signatures that can identify that the price was ready. Yeah.
Bang on. SNGX is putting in a bit of a hammer candle right now, guys, off that $4 area. But as I watch it on the 5, it's really encountering a lot of selling almost at every step. So the initial area I was seeing a lot of selling was that 430 area. It couldn't clear it. It then clears it and then encounters more resistance at that 450 area. And then here it comes back down again into 4 1/3, 4 1/4. We're not involved in this one at the moment, but I'm looking for a possible entry. Now, obviously, there was that whole dollar level, but couldn't hold it from there because I was into 5, so that would have been crazy. Now, let me show you what I'm seeing on the 5 second. If it ends up holding this area low at around 4 1/4 and then makes a new high above this 448, that's my invitation to get involved. And the reason why is this is an area low and that's an area high. So if we make this as our area low, that'll be higher low, and then if we break that 4.5, that'll be a higher high. So at least I know that there'll be a change in the trend, at least a micro change, or in a micro trend change. Let's call it that. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. If that is the case, I'll get involved. Otherwise, I'm not going to try to catch this off whole dollars. We're going to a dare for happening now. Then Neil's got his lesson of the day.
Here's the S&P 500. To be fair, this is very much still in a downtrend from open with lower highs and lower lows, though we are, also making a higher low from yesterday's Fed drop. We have the Nasdaq here on watch as well. Nasdaq looking basically identical here to the S&P 500. What we did here was we gapped up with Meta and Microsoft thanks to those two, both making all-time highs on stellar earnings reports. The market just could not sustain that strength for whatever reason, sold off at the open. But in addition to earnings catalysts, we do have an IPO, Figma. They don't have a chart yet, so here's their website, FIG, said to be acquired by Adobe as of 2022. That fell through last year, and now they're making their own market debut in an IPO that is very likely to open well above estimates. I'm just seeing here on X, apparently they're expected to open around $90 to $95 compared to the $33 IPO price and the expected range between $31 and $32. Here, let's talk about some really different earnings plays. There were a lot of earnings names. We couldn't get to all of them. Here are some that are making notable moves that maybe we didn't discuss. Align is one of them. ALGN. Buyers certainly are not aligned with this name. It gapped down about 30%, I believe, at its lows. They did have a Q2 double miss and their Q3 sales guidance well below estimates. Then we have CVNA. This was another earnings play, much like what we saw with Microsoft, especially gapped up to all-time highs, but sold off a little bit into the open. They did have a double beat and strong sales growth as well as growth in terms of units sold. But before we send you back to the Bash Brothers, it's time for Neil and his lesson of the day. So without further ado, take it away, Neil.
Thank you, Adara. And lesson of the day brought to you by Figma. And why not? I mean, it kind of makes sense here. Like, everyone's looking at this. It's going to open up way higher than everyone expected. I know for a lot of people, like, the impetus is like, oh my goodness, like, come on, 33 and it's going to open above 90 bucks. That's insane. Why would it be a long and all that good stuff? And I understand that. And when we talk about the mechanics of the trade that we're looking at, oftentimes it's just that momentum push. Now, we all know what happened with Circle, and I tried to pull up an e-signal and just go back to the day, but whatever. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it. I just didn't want to take the time. And because this is a bad wick on the open. But generally speaking, when you open at the even dollar, you take the print, you're scalping and all that nonsense. I know this didn't wick down. I know for myself, if it immediately fails the first even dollar, I just want to be out. It's all well and good to have it do this in the first couple of minutes, but if it loses a bit instantly, it can absolutely rinse you. So for myself, if I'm taking that opening print, my stop, the first thing I do is enter my stop order for protection. And the other side, I think on day one, Obi had a good circle trade. This is day two looking for shorts, but I'm using this chart as an example. If you want to short this, you have to pay for locates. Here at Real Trading, we have relatively cheap locates. In my opinion, it should be the most obvious entry if you're going to look for a reversion if this thing goes parabolic. And what I mean by obvious, it's like it probably rinsed, it was crazy parabolic, maybe even rinsing some tops, and then you get a really obvious topping tail candle, and even then you want to scalp your profits out, because when these start going, there's not a lot of shares out there. It's limited, a bunch can't even sell in the first place, and the momentum can be absolutely overwhelming. So the idea is, if you are taking the open print, understand that if it loses the bid, we've seen this before, if you lose an even dollar bid at the open, you can absolutely flush. Having a stop order protection, it'll look nasty if it happens to you and it's a bottom wick, but it will save you so much. And the idea is you want to be able to limit the loss to under $1 to be able to have, like Circle went 10 bucks. And you can only, to me, you're only doing that kind of risk if you have a stop. If you're just willing to let it go down forever, when this thing is going to be almost 3x from its open, from the IPO price, that's too much risk. There can be sellers on this. They don't all just go up like Circle did. So make sure you give yourself some kind of protection. And the other side is, when this one went into a halt, having trailing stops makes sense as well. I kept moving the stop up and trying to let it fly. So I know everyone's excited to trade this, and there's a lot in the camp that are like, it's too high, I can't deal with it. You could just use a tighter stop. They just indicated the open now up to $95. $95. And it's starting to get smaller, the imbalance of 1.5. So it looks like we're getting a little bit closer to an open because you're seeing more constant adjustments and of the price, which can seem daunting. But if you have a risk plan and a tight stop, you have tremendous upside, and then you can limit your downside risk. Of course, if you get a bad wick out, it's gonna suck. But I would rather, like lose a buck and have that be a bottoming tail wick, limit the hit so that I can live to fight another day, because I know that over time, taking most of these with that approach is gonna make me money. Never want one of these to absolutely ruin your month, and that's where that stop order protection comes in. It's the first thing I do when I get that fill. Good luck to everybody in Figma. My guess is, they've updated to 95. I'd say imminent, but if we get this before 1, I'll be pleasantly surprised. Let's say 1242 because I like 42. Good luck, everybody.
If you hit it.
Thank you very much, Neil. Wise words as always, Neil Roberts. Every day, guys, around that lunch hour, he is dropping Neilage around here. Guys, look, Figma. Oh, baby. I know the big boys were talking about this one, but now the theoretical auction price. Joey, it's $95. This thing's $32 for those who were buying it.
It's going nuts.
Obviously.
It's going nuts. It's
okay,
going
so let's explain to everybody what's going on over here so they can follow along. All right, so there's something called the market on open order or the limit on open order. One is the market order, one's a limit order. That's what the difference is. Now, what these do is they send an order to the exchange, and it tells the exchange, the order basically says, on open, as soon as this thing is open, pay, in my case, it would be a market on open order, so it will be market price, whatever the market price is, or in the Katina Man, he's taking a limit on open, that will play up to whatever Katina Man has dictated to the computer, pay up to this price. So, what's so different about this order? Well, it allows you to submit orders when you can't send other orders in. If I was to send in a regular order right now, like I did with SNGX, it wouldn't accept it. So you have to send this type of order in, a market on open or a limit on open. Now, the issue is, once it's sent, it can't come back. You cannot cancel it. So you're in whether you want to be at that time or not. So make the decisions carefully. Now, this is the same type of order that we would use if a stock was halted. So like we were talking about ELWS not that long ago. If you wanted to send a market or limit on open order for ELWS, whatever the price was when it unhalted, that's the same type of order you would be sending in. So it's the same type of order you're using for an IPO before it opens, and the same one that you'd be using if a stock was halted, either for volatility or due to news. So keep that in mind. It's we used to use this order a lot on the floor back when the floor was here for the close. It was called something different. It was a mock, a market on open or a lock, a limit on limit on close or a market on close. And we would do that for like different trades and stuff like that, but never really used it. I'm just speaking personally for these IPOs. So that will be a first for me, Joey. Shout out to WJ Larson, $10 super chat. I'm a UX designer, worked at Google for 10 years. Check out my site. I use Figma every single day. It's not a $95 stock. Look, brother, I am not arguing with you whatsoever about the fundamentals of this stock. But what we do here is we trade the technicals. We trade momentum. We trade price action. Whether or not this is actually valued correctly, the market will decide in due time, right? So allow the market to develop. It doesn't mean that the market has to be correct right now, at the open, or even by the end of the day, or even by the end of the week, man. The market will correct itself eventually. And that's all I got to say about that, Joey. What do you got?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll see if we can get that rocking and rolling. The boys are waiting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know Passport Chaos is going heavy on that one too, so good work on that. I mean, hey man, you got to take those big swings in order to make that big time money. So yeah, hopefully that works out relatively well for everyone. And then when it opens, it's going to be absolute chaos. So yeah, excited about that here. But yeah, we took another little bit off the TQs. This is cooking up for us a nice trade here off of the lows. Just patience, and patience.
Okay.
And I think that if you have that in your playbook, then I think it'll be pretty good because you can find some good opportunities. Obviously, not every day is going to be yours, but yeah, we won't complain about this whatsoever, especially on a Thursday. So what is Passport Chaos saying? I'm hoping to go in my favor. I'll be in and out hopefully in under 30 seconds. Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're pushing that type of size. It's just like if it does move a couple of dollars, boom, hop out of that and just cash out and go enjoy your day. I don't know if you're going to be hitting a pool party or something, but we don't want to celebrate too early. But once it does come, then yeah, congratulations. I'm going to be keeping my eye on you, Passport Chaos. So yeah, I'd love to see that. TQ is still cooking up for us. This is the only position that we're in, and we're going to be sitting in this until I think Fig opens up, because I know a lot of names. I was talking with Obi this morning. He's like, I don't even care about anything else, Joseph. I'm only focusing on Fig, and it's just like, yo, boom, boom, boom. Push that size and see what you can get cooking from that specifically. So yeah. Fig is definitely the trade of the day. It's not running yet. Once it opens, everybody will know. Trust me. We will let you guys know as soon as possible. I have it up on my side chart here. It says IPO right at the top, so that's going to be something positive, and I'm looking forward to that. TQ is still cooking off those lows. Are we going to get into the volume weighted average price? Maybe. Only time will tell. I don't have much size left. To be honest with you, 10% right now about 5% after we take that little bit out. But this has been a pretty good long off of these lows here on the TQs. And then obviously I was referring to Robinhood earlier. We were trading that one. That worked out relatively well for us. And then SOFI as well too. So yeah, there it is. Could we have added onto this position? Yes. Should we have? Yes. But did we? No. So you got to just go back, analyze, document the trade, and then just try to get a little bit better. You guys know I like to add into winning positions, especially after taking losing ones. It's like if it's gonna work, it's gonna work, and just start to push a little bit of size and add into the winners. So VWAP is gonna be the final target on this, and then after that we'll get out of there. But Meta, let's take a look at what Meta and Microsoft are up to. Man, oh man. Microsoft, I was not suspecting that whatsoever. But the thing is, though, I want to see if I can jog your guys' memory. I was referring to a couple analysts, Tom Lee being one of them and another individual who I'm not too familiar with. But they were mentioning that with this Azure growth, there was about 5 to 7% left off the table. And that's quite a bit of cash as well, too. And then sure enough, the name just goes absolutely insane. Let's pull up Microsoft, considering I have the meta chart up. That'd be a good idea, eh, Joe? But there it is. What a big time gap up, and unfortunately it's given up the majority of that move, but this gap up, I was not expecting that. Can this be the move where we break this downtrend line, or does it continuously hold and you just grind higher and higher? I don't know. Microsoft is on the top of its class right now, in my opinion, and I think with this market, as long as this CapEx stays elevated, I'm so long these hyperscalers, Sharif.
All right, I submitted. Oh, I think it...
Did it reject?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
How come? So did you get it in yet?
No, I couldn't get it in yet.
You got to use a lock, eh? A Lou. You got to use the Lou.
Oh, limit? Oh, okay, yeah. So let's see. Should we do it?
Should we do it live?
Yeah, let's do it live.
We're going to do it live, Joey. So let's bring it in for anybody who's using... what are we calling it now?
P8.
P8. Thank you, Katina, man, and Joe. P8. All right, so we're going to weasel on over. We go down over to the market. You want to choose NYSE because this thing is on the New York. Then you weasel on over here. I have mine under Shift M. That's my hotkey for it. So we're going to change this moo into a Lou. Ooh. Okay? And so we're going to go NYSE, Lou, limit price. I'm not going to have an offset. Do you have an offset on your Katina Man? No offset on yours. Okay, Katina Man doesn't have an offset. I'm not doing an offset. All right. So we're changing it. We're doing it live. Apply. Okay, Joey. Yeah. And now we're doing Shift M. That brings up the Lou. All right. And so hold on. I got a question, boys. So the Lou, you're putting your max price, obviously, because it's a limit on open.
You can put $200 if it opens at 95.
It doesn't matter. It'll get 95.
Oh, okay,
right?
All
correct.
Right, cool,
okay,
cool,
good.
Cool.
Exactly. Thank you, Katina Man. The Katina Man verifying when you're putting in your limit.
I'm going to do exactly what Katina Man said.
Well, he's Katina Man's like, look, you can put in 200 in the limit on open, but if it opens and you get filled at 96, 97, 98, that's what you're paying. You're not paying 200.
Okay, bang, we're locked in, Sharif. We're looed up.
You're locked and loaded?
Yeah, we're looed up. You are too, no?
Not even.
Oh, I thought I seen your crosshairs there.
Who do you mean?
Oh, no, yeah, because when you loot, there's usually an order there, right? So I thought that was it. So this is me being locked in right now.
You're locked and loaded?
Yeah, I'm super locked in. So we're gonna see what happens with this one.
We're in too, Joey.
You're in?
It's in, man. It comes what happens,
there
bro.
We go, bro.
It is what it is, my guy.
Listen. Get ready, production team. When this thing opens and it decides
we're gonna be
rip,
freaking screaming.
This is gonna destroy any form of YouTube short ever made. Never mind the Bitcoin one. Never mind the Circle one. This.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Everybody,
all right, well, it is what it is. So we get blown out. We get blown out.
You're in it now, baby.
Yeah, we are. We're involved.
Any form of pop, boom, I'm in and I'm out of this trade.
Katina, man, I'm sorry to keep asking you questions about this, brother. The limit on, I know that the market on close and the market on open are not cancelable. Are the limit ones? Up until the time it opens, Neil verifying, it is cancelable.
You don't need to know that. You don't need to know
that. Don't worry about what I need to know, Joseph.
You don't need to know that.
If I want to cancel this, you know what? I would cancel it.
You're locked in, brother. You don't want to cancel that.
Pardon me? It ties up your buying power if you have too many shares, which is fine, right? Because, I think we're good in that regard, Katina, man, because we didn't take that many shares, to be quite honest.
You can't back out now.
I'll back out if I want, baby.
Man.
It's not a move, it's a loop.
We're locked in, brother. We're locked in, man. Hit me up here, man.
We're locked and low. Look, we're going to let it go. We're going to let it go. We're going to do what we can, right? Look. You're seeing all the right ingredients. It was oversubscribed in the IPO phase. So it was supposed to be 27, 28 bucks. We'll get to it on the news if we even get to the news today with this thing. And then it was higher and higher and higher. And now the top is showing $95. Okay? So, you were seeing this whole thing. And what's the one that you took like a month ago? Circle, I think it was Circle that you explored that one. Circle, that was a good one. Yeah. The Katina man, I mean, I saw the whole thing happen with Circle as well. We kept seeing that tap increase and increase and increase as the midday show went on, and then it ended up being a banger. So look, come what may, it's a trade here that we've been doing on the floor for a long time. It prints, it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll learn a lesson from it. So
we got to hit that four-way screen ASAP as soon as it.
You'll hear a lot of screaming. The boys, the Katina man is not at the gym. Obviously, I've been talking to him right here, and the reason he's here is because he wants to take the trade. Yeah. And his eyes and Neil's eyes are fixated on the screen. So as soon as it opens, the entire office is going to know, and we'll be able to kind of weasel on over to the screen. You know what I'm going to do, Joey? Yes, I'm going to put it on one of my extreme screens. So we're going to put FIG on this one over here, so that way I can kind of go to it super easy. And then we're going to take this one over here. We're going to take this one off. What are we going to put? We're going to put REPL just to get this one out of the way. Joey, tell them what's up.
All right, what's going on? Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3X daily leverage ETFs. Featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing, everyone. So
you just got to cover
go ahead.
John, okay, so guys, we are talking about Figma, FIG on the New York. That is what we have been talking about this entire time. It's an IPO, an initial public offering. It's trading under FIG. We don't know when it's going to open. That's part of the let's just call it the charm of the IPO kind of trade. It could open at any time. History tells us that it typically opens in the early afternoon. So basically from now until 2 o'clock. Most of the time, it opens on when Joseph and I are on, all right? So that's just from history, from experience. So we'll keep an eye on it. This is a New York listed stock, not a Nasdaq listed stock. It could have some different characteristics. So just be on the lookout there. The IPO price, I'm just gonna look, I'm gonna bring in the notes here super quick, just so that we could talk about this 1 second over here. and then we're going to go back to Figma because I need to keep my eyes on the screen. Here it is, guys. So let's do a little talking here about Figma as we wait for it to open up. Very oversubscribed. Okay, so Joseph, they were talking about a $30 to $32 range. And then the actual IPO price, that's not you and I. That's people that are with these investment banks. They bought it, or they got the chance to buy it, Joey, at 33 bucks a share. Let's let everybody know that it's showing $95 is the scheduled open price at the moment. So a lot of exuberant buying. What's on the table right now? They've raised $1.2 billion in this IPO, with most of the proceeds actually going to existing shareholders. With the IPO, now the company is valued, at least for the moment, on paper. We'll see what it is once it's open. $19.3 billion, but with a top of 95, it's going to be well above that $19.3 billion. I'm assuming that 19.3 valuation is based on a $33 a share price. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that, and we won't have immediately the market cap, because that usually shows up on my platform subsequent to the IPO. This company was actually a takeover target a few years ago by Adobe. It was they're going to be bought for about $20 billion, but it was terminated because of regulatory pushback, thanks to Lena Khan and her crew over there at the FTC. But Figma did receive about $1 billion in a breakup fee from Adobe, so they came out better for it, and now they're IPOing for us, if not more than they were going to get bought out for. The company was founded back in 2012 by a dude named Dylan Field and Evan Wallace. It's headquartered in San Fran, like a lot of these tech companies are, but they've got offices everywhere: France, Germany, Japan, Singapore, you name it, all right? They are now one of the most watched design SaaS firms, especially after the failed takeover by Adobe. And Dylan Field, he's the largest shareholder. He's one of the, the founders. He's got about 56.5 million shares, and he has voting control. Some of the top institutional investors, Joey, Index Ventures has about 17%, Greylock 16, Kleiner Perkins has got 14 of that bad boy. So just a little information there on the company, just so you can kind of understand what it does.
And these guys aren't allowed to sell for some time.
There's a blackout period. We can find out.
Period,
You can check out with your friend Perplexity there. Let's see what your friend Perplexity has to say. When is the blackout period over for FIG? Show me.
180 days, everyone's saying.
Yeah, well, it usually is, right?
Yeah.
Not directly specified. Blackout periods are part of stockholder, company. All right, it didn't give me any answer here. You suck. You suck. Give me an answer. Let's see what it says. Nothing. Ends after the company releases its Generally, it ends after the company releases its earnings. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we'll not get too deep into that there. Yeah.
What do you got, Joey?
Yeah.
I want to let everybody know. ELWS is breaking out, guys. It's back above the volume weighted average price. It's got a bit of a rounded bottom here. It's cleared 5. It's clearing 5.5. But it still has this issue with a wider spread. Be careful with this one, but it's up almost 50%, about 46% over here. I want to also mention that SNGX is holding 4 generally. So if this one weasels in, maybe we'll keep an eye on that. But I'm really going to be focusing now on Figma, Joseph.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing goes with me, guys. I got one more out. I think I'm just trying to hold this for the dream, right? So it's not too much, literally 5% left of the position. And if we get up to 91.30, then that gives a little bit more than $1. Okay. So that'd be a really nice trade on that one. Yeah, definitely my best position on the day. Robinhood being number 2. Yeah, Robinhood was a really nice trade there for Sharif off of the lows. And I didn't even get the extension that I was looking for, right?
What happened?
I got stopped out break even, but at the end of the day, there's a chance to reload for sure. Did I take advantage of it? No, but we just got to learn from what we got cooking up and try to get a little bit better, all right? So this was our Robinhood short earlier in the day. Boom. We take this one short instantly in the money, which is something positive, and you want your trades to work out relatively quick. Me personally, right, being a momentum trader, I'm not good with slow grinds or anything like that. What is it at now?
$100 now, the theoretical option.
We're gonna rock and roll here. To be honest with you, I'm curious to see what the spread's gonna look. Hopefully it's liquid enough, and then you can just boom, you get that big time pop to the top side, and you just flatten out instantly. So that's kind of the game plan that I got going on. Katina Man's got a different one, I know. I can tell you that for sure.
Katina Man, so how are you executing your outs, brother? Are you using hotkeys? Are you gonna post, or what's gonna be the move here?
Just stop order.
Stop. You're gonna use stops. Are you using script stops?
Stop
okay, the Katina Man's gonna use script stops. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Edge probably up in there, but yeah. So there it is. Hood, nice short off of those highs there, guys. Yeah, so everything was all good in the hood, and then eventually we did get that move back up to here, and it stopped us out of the remainder of our position when our primary target was the volume-weighted average price. So that's what I got cooking up right now to see if we can get into VWAP or anywhere relatively close, right? We want to keep an eye out for some key support and resistance levels in order to get to them. So you can see we're knocking on the door of this one, right? But I don't think it's anything substantial. If Meta and Microsoft, whoa, did your computer just flicker right there? Mine did. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, with Meta and Microsoft continuously being weak, we got Amazon after the bell. Let's go, Amazon. This thing is on the warpath, Sharif. Was some big time recovery right here in Amazon, so that's positive. And also we got Coinbase too, right? So we can go over some of these expected moves and see what we got cooking up. But Fig is definitely the name of the day that we're going to be continuously monitoring. There's Amazon right there starting to recover, heading right back in towards the opening price, which is a beauty thing to see. And then we got Coin right here, not doing too much. Let's see how that report turns out.
With Trade the Pool swing trading programs, you can now get access to up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares, not these CFDs. You hold positions overnight, or can anyway, over the weekend as well, and enjoy a limited amount of risk thanks to a one-time evaluation fee. No monthly payments, no hidden cost. Take Vincent J, for example, one of Trade the Pool's swing traders. He's already locked in $23,082 in profits, guys. And you want to know what his top performer was? NMAX. He shorted it from April 20th all the way to May 30th, and he pulled in $6,777 in pure gains. Trade the Pool, baby. It's giving swing traders like you the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. So scan that QR code and enjoy 10% off. Shout out to the great folks at Trade the Pool. Shout out to Mitch as well. Good to have him back. I know he was on vacation to the Gulf of America. Is
that what he said? He's going. No way.
Oh,
wow,
Mitch,
so
man, Mitch is undefeated.
Cancun, I guess there or something.
I think he was probably on the west coast of Florida.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Gulf of America.
Dude, have you seen the Gulf of whatever, Mexico, America is not all created equal, bro. Like Galveston, Texas, it's on technically the Gulf.
Yeah.
And it's brown water. There's a lot of sand, and then you go obviously to Tampa or Clearwater, it's a different game.
Different game over
the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, not created equal, dog.
Not equal, yeah. I don't know. I think it's the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, as much as I love America, we're going to keep it that way. Yeah, we'll keep it, because I love Mexico too, right? So, yo quiero vivir un día en Mexico. So yeah. So that's what we want to do.
You're just going to stunt like that?
You know what I said?
I don't even stunt.
I said I want to live in Mexico one day.
Yeah?
Yeah,
that's very good.
Hopefully, anyways, it might have not been the best Spanish, but you know we're doing a little workout here.
I know you do, bro. I love my talk. There's a lot of, in the office over here, a lot of people originally from China. And, I like to take advantage of the fact that they speak Mandarin so I can practice my Mandarin.
And we got Spanish speaking as well, too.
We do. Yeah. We have a lot. At a bigger company, you and I probably would get called into HR. You probably couldn't do that.
To speak a language?
Yeah, we can't make assumptions that everybody, just because they look like they're from the Far East or they look like they're from Latin America, they speak the language.
I would wait until they just started speaking and be like, oh, hey, and then
I didn't wait. I was just like, all right, hey, do you speak Mandarin?
Well, there you go. That's the situation. Let's go, TQs. Let's go, Fig. We got going on. We love everything. I love everything, to be honest with you.
Get it, Joe.
I was going to say something, but I don't feel like disclosing that because...
I want to hear it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to tell anybody, to be honest with you. Yeah, because I'll keep that one to myself.
Can you tell me?
No, because you'll give me a harder time, actually, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean,
okay, and I'll tell you guys. So last night, as I'm just digging into,
saw that, Ramer?
what? What'd you do?
Go.
What'd you do?
I do
so last night, are you sure you didn't do anything? Why was Ram laughing so hard? Anyways, last night, as I'm digging into some of these reports, your boy went ham on some strawberry Haagen-Dazs, and then once I start eating that, I just black out, right? And I just like
you black out. I know. Once you start, you can't stop.
Oh, bro,
right?
I can't stop. So I went through. It was the smaller one, and I went through half of that. So yeah, I gotta stop that. Yeah, see, that's why I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. You want to know why?
Why?
Because this piece of work over here, I had one piece of bread topped with egg burger. Okay. And he's starts taking pictures of the bread. I'm like, yeah, that's what's operative here. The 100 grams of protein and then the 10 grams of carbs that you chose to focus on.
You literally did that to me. I'm eating my egg and my bagel and egg sandwich, and bagel takes a picture of it.
Bagel's way denser.
Yeah, all right, it's all right, man.
All right, man, we're doing it live. All right, we're still waiting on Figma, guys. The theoretical auction price, oh no. $105. It's up $15 since we sat down. It's obviously being well subscribed right now. Be on the lookout, guys. We are waiting for Figma, listed on the NYSE. It's supposed to be a $33 IPO. It is now a $105 tap theoretical auction price. So be on the lookout for that. That's what we're waiting for at the moment. That's why you're not seeing too much in the way of activity on other trades, but I will continue to monitor SNGX as well as ELWS as ELWS has worked its way back above the volume weighted average price. I also want to bring to your attention another name that I've been involved with for some time. It was originally a loser for me, but I did get back in. PI Impinge. So I ended up actually punching in originally at this at $200, and I got stopped out 160. So we took a $40 loss initially. And the reason I got out 160 because it was a loss of the 200 exponential moving average. But we did work our way back in, and now this is having a hell of a time. It breaks the 200 EMA at 120. This reported earnings. This is the aftermarket move yesterday on PI Impinge, and this is the continuity we're getting today. So this thing is rocketing up. It is sort of an Internet of Things company, as well as RFID. They do RFID. They do some analog chips as well, which is catching favor with the AI space right now. So PI up 32% on the day, and this one did report earnings yesterday. So, you know, just an investment name that I want to throw your way, guys. One of these lesser known names that you probably haven't heard on the show. Taking the opportunity to let you guys know about this one because it looks like it's a good investment so far. Let's keep an eye on NEGG as well. NEG, we've been talking about this one for a long time. And there we go again, 47% now as it works its way back into that $67 area, $67.44, the high of the day. It's just too spready, too extended for me to get involved in. Wow, there's that move back up into 67. Good strength here on NEGG, up 48% and change. I also want to bring to your attention Genie. Look, this is not up much. I really don't have a whole lot to say about this, but it does look like a possible flat top break through maybe that 11 2/3. GENI is the ticker. It trades on the New York, I'm assuming. Yes, there we go. Let's just show you this one real quick. There is a bit of selling here, and there has been most of the day here at 11 1/3, but it's now accumulating into that 11 1/3. So I want to see if it can actually end up breaking it. Good move, not much up on the day, about 2.89%, 3% give or take, Joey. So that's all I've got for now. Just still really fixated here on what you're seeing on the screen. FIG, still waiting for this one to open. Theoretical auction price now 105.
Yeah, big time stuff there. So a lot going on with that.
Earthquake SoCal?
SoCal?
No,
oh, really?
say less.
Earthquake,
I don't want to hear that. My sister's there.
Yeah, that's not good. Hopefully it wasn't too big of one, lower magnitude.
Hopefully, I'm just looking.
I'm looking. There was a big one off the coast of
tsunami.
British, yeah.
I heard about that one.
Yeah.
I heard about that one.
Was it not Tofino? Is it somewhere around that neck?
Everybody got a warning, dude. Yeah, Hawaii got a warning. Japan, Russia, everybody in that ring of fire. The ring of fire is like this area of activity in the Pacific. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, it's definitely a hot area over there in the ring of fire. Shout out to, you know who sings that?
No, I don't.
I think Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. That's a big
name. I could
name.
be wrong though. Or Eric Clapton or something maybe. I don't know. We'll figure that one out later. But I'm sure the boys are. They're all heavily tuned into what we got going on with Fig. Rightfully so, because it's gonna be a big time move. This guy can print up. Coutinho Man can print an absolute.
He's not taking that many shares though.
No, light shares.
He's taking light shares. And can you guys tell that we're being sarcastic?
Yeah, light shares. Light shares, Johnny Cash. Yeah, there it is. So, yeah, guys. All right. So this is my last out here on the TQs. We essentially hit target right there, so I won't complain about that whatsoever. We'll lock that in and we'll close out this position. Canceled. Yeah, that's great. No, it's not. There it goes. So, yeah, there we go, guys. We're all out of the TQs. Let's go Bitcoin, though. Man, wow. What a big day on that? Yeah. So this thing's starting to move. It didn't sell off like the rest of the market. And then now, guys, look at this volume really start to kick in there. 6752. Really good look there on BTC. We love seeing that. But, guys, we're going to head off to Adara. Coinbase moving pretty good as well, too, guys.
We actually have news on crypto, and that's why it's moving. SEC announcing that they're launching a project. They're calling it Project Crypto, apparently to move all markets on chain. So again, SEC launching something called Project Crypto that's going to be basically modernizing securities rules and move markets on chain. Nice push here for all these crypto plays on that story that is announced by SEC Chair Paul Atkins. Back to you.
Yeah, so guys, just for my swing positions, I tell you guys everything. I'm going to probably drop these VIX calls before I just continuously lose time to theta here. I just wanted to see if it was working, if we're going to get any volatility spike. We did, so I'm down $100 on that one. That's small potatoes. But everything else is all right. I have literally a handful of Nvidia shares that are okay, and then I'll just close that out probably in the 80s or whatever it may be. But then now my focus is on Ethereum and Bitcoin via IBIT calls, and then some Ethereum shares, and then we'll look to get involved with some contracts possibly in ETHA. See, the thing is, though, it was a little bit of a chase for me on Ethereum, considering the move that we experienced after the Genius Act, but I think there's going to be some more sustained movement. Positioned okay, we're still in the money on that one, but I have to be really cautious just in case there's some form of aggressive pullback, and I don't want to be holding the size that I'm currently holding right now. I got to wait for it to work, and then I can add a couple contracts there, Street.
Makes sense, man. That makes sense. Good strategy there. Guys, I'm still watching SNGX over here. And you know what? I'm going to move this one over next to Figma so that if I'm on it, I can switch to Figma super quick. SNGX. Sorry, I put GMX. There we go. SNGX. This one is, I feel like this one is starting to kind of build accumulation. So you can kind of get the feeling that the $4 level has certainly held, and now we're starting to get some higher lows. It feels like, you know, we're starting to get some accumulation at this level for a possible break. So I'm thinking possibly just weaseling in small share size on this one just to, get into something, because I'm not in any positions at the moment. 4.5 seems to be where the selling keeps coming in over and over, but I don't know if that's going to outdo the higher lows that have been in place basically since that 12:15 candle made an area low. That's the only candle that actually breached $4. Probably stopped a lot of people out because it got a little deep there into 385, excuse me. But since that time, it's been a higher low fest. Again, with that 4.5 acting as that key area of resistance. But that's the key area of resistance for the wicks. Most of the closing prints, if not all, have actually been below 440. So yeah, it does feel like, this one's not primed and ready to go yet, but I'm just keeping my eye on it. If it definitely keeps putting in more higher lows and, accumulating for that 4.5 break, definitely want to be involved with that one. But really, my focus is going to be on FIG on the New York. Now still showing $105 tap, has not changed. We'll have to see exactly where this one opens at. So my strategy on this one was to post at 200. So I did put a limit on open order, a limit on open order. I posted at 200. I'll get filled at whatever the price opens at, depending really on what order in priority I am and how much slippage I get. So that will be one issue. The other issue is my profit takers as well as my stop loss. So this one really starts tanking against me. I have to be able to manage risk. So I'm going to throw in script stops into that bad boy as well as script profit takers as well. So that's what I'm going to do. And the script orders, they sit on our servers until the requirements for them to be active are met, at which point they get sent to the exchange. So it makes them a little bit slower. So that's what I'm thinking about doing here with FIG, just to manage a little bit of risk. I think we got to go to Adair at the big desk.
Keep an eye here on crypto. Again, we have some more details coming from SEC Chair Paul Atkins on this new crypto project. In addition to that, apparently the SEC is going to be directing its policy divisions to work with its crypto task force that was announced prior to implement the White House's crypto recommendation. So you're going to have policy divisions with the crypto task force ensuring that the White House's crypto recommendations are being carried out. They also apparently, the other aspect here, I think that was the main aspect, but yeah, they just want to launch everything, this initiative to move it, I guess, all markets here on chain. He also said that most crypto assets are not securities, so that's something, I guess, of note as well. Back to you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you know where I stand with that stuff. It's crazy. I don't remember when they stopped selling. Like you don't get anything with the phone now, essentially. You just
Yeah, they did that. Okay, so I heard you bring it up this morning. So they want to get to net zero. You know that, right? They're super paranoid with the environment and with plastics. So they don't give you the thing anymore, and they don't give you the headphones because they want to reduce the amount of plastics that they actually give in the package. Yeah.
Boy,
They've been doing that for a while.
But you can buy it on the side, though.
Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, hey, we can't give it to you. Yeah, we can't give it to you, but you can buy it after, which I think is insane. So, yeah.
Brazil, it's mandatory. They have to give you that. But Assassino, wasn't Brazil one of the first countries as well to insist on USB-C as well? Because remember they had the old one. I know Europe forced them as well, but I think that
have a universal, America, right? Like you need a universal. Like I don't know
like
how
I
these
still have the old one here. Like this is the 13 Pro Max.
Like I have to switch everything up now. It's frustrating. It's like, okay, well that's not really reducing any form of plastic. I just got to buy more and then throw the old stuff out.
So Tisha, I'm seeing what you're seeing, Tisha, on SNGX. My whole thing about this one, Tish, is it's holding for and putting in higher lows. You know, to me, anything below this bar over here, Tisha, like at 385, that's the end of the trade. So if I was to work in 4.25, 4, another low below this 385 area, to me, says SNGX has got nothing left to offer for the longs, and it's more of a short, at least in the 3 where VWAP is. So I totally see what you mean. This could be, you know, a consolidation area and break the bottom. It also could be a higher lows type situation for a curl back up into the high. So I completely see your kind of ambiguity with that. I'm feeling the same thing on this one, hence why I'm not involved. So yes, and to answer your other question, Tisha, I am waiting on Figma to take this bad boy long. We're putting a limit on open order on this one, so that's kind of what I'm focused on at the moment. We'll see how this one ends up doing. But look at SNGX, lose the bid. It's lost 4.5. It's on the way down to 4. Here it is again. Does it lose 4? It's up 227%. This is the best looking, at least for, you know, for the moment, the best looking small cap gapper. In at least above $1 in the market right now. So 4 candles now with lower highs. So I was singing this one's praise about putting higher lows, but now it's also putting in lower highs, excuse me. So that's what I'm looking at there. Nothing else really going on in my world. I have been looking at my top screen for at the scanner to see if there's any new small cap gappers weaseling onto the scene, and there really isn't, guys. It is a light day in small cap world. What's the Russ at? The Russ is flat. It's down 0.12, so it's not really indicative of anything that bad. I'm seeing some other names work in here, sub $1. There's this ticker SHOT, SHOT. Let's have a look at this one. Sorry about that. Allow me a second. SHOT. Let's look at this one on the 5-minute. Yeah, so this one is breaking out, but it just weaseled onto the scene, at least on my scanner, and that's because it just cleared 85 pennies. I have a filter on my scanner to not show me anything below 85 pennies. So this one is working its way into that $1, man. We might have to keep an eye out. There it is, another new high there into 88 pennies now. So not a bad look, but shout out to Jamie's Penny, letting you know about ATAI. Same thing with Ebb Flow Portfolio. Both of you guys back to back, letting me know ATAI is making moves, and it absolutely is. 22%. It's a little bit less than $1 billion. It's about 895 million market cap, but a good look, man. Good bull flag. I mean, obviously, I don't like this pop up and a Christmas tree retracement down, but it seemed to have found support at 3 2/3, and up we go into 4 1/4. So this is not a bad looking one. Thank you guys for ATAI. Didn't have eyes on this. It's already worked its way onto the side chart over here, so we're going to keep our eye on that. And we're going to actually load it over here, Assassino. We're going to put ATAI over here. It trades on the Nasdaq, 1 penny spread. Good to go, good to go. All right, so I do like this one, possibly in around 410. Let's go ahead and throw an order in the low to mid-teens there, see if we can get maybe a pullback into this area. So this is, I perceive this one to be a bull flag and a bullish. Does that make any sense? A bullish bull flag? It's already bullish, Sharif. No, but what I mean by that is you have higher lows. Wow, what a pop up there on ATAI. Look at that, clearing into 430. And what I mean by bullish bull flag, even though that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense on his face, is the flag component of the bull flag. As we always talk about, no two bull flags are created equal. Some of them have very horizontal consolidation areas. Some go down, some go up, and some compress, right? This one seems to have an upward channel as a sort of the flag component. What's up?
I hate it when it does
Freaking
that.
me out, man. I thought Figma opened, man. Yeah. I know you're going to be the Katina man's getting amped up over there, and I like
he's
it.
Amped, man.
Yeah, he is amped. I like it, though. I like it when he's like that. No, seriously, though. So this bull flag over here seems to have a bullish, an extra bullish tilt to it. So we'll see if this even pulls back into my dip trade here at 414. ATAI is the name of the ticker I'm talking about, up about 22.5% here, Joey.
Yeah, good luck there, guys.
Coming soon? Why do you think that, Katina, man?
What makes you think that?
Spidey sense, still
Spidey
105
sense.
tap
Spidey
on.
sense is tingling. Yeah, all right, so I'm long some Bitcoin. If it doesn't hold, I'm literally giving this cents, right? Like I'm not holding this for very long because this is what I'm going off of based, right? So if it breaks through that, holds that low, we're out of that trade, all right? So just keep that, and there it goes. So yeah, we're gonna hop out of this this IBIT trade because it's not doing what I want. I think there's gonna be another opportunity to get involved in this and look for the continuation in the strength. So yeah. What did you say?
Katina man's amped up, bro.
Yeah,
I like
say, let's go,
I can't say what he said, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, we don't want to repeat that. We don't want to repeat that on the air, but let's hop out of this Bitcoin trade. Yeah, great, that didn't work, so now it's gone heavily against me. Fantastic, love that when that happens. So there it is, yeah, in and out just like that. Looking for a specific candle to hold. I think there's gonna be another opportunity to get involved. See, the thing is though, I was gonna flip short on the TQs. I don't know why I was trading Bitcoin. I don't know why I do what I do sometimes, but that's, I guess, just how you gotta live your life like that, Sharif. So, what was I gonna type in? QQQ, QQQ. So yeah, a good thing we got out of Bitcoin there because that would have not been fun. So yeah, TQs, nice indecision right at the volume weighted average price, right when we're getting out there on the 5 minute, right below VWAP. That's exactly where you want to look for some of these signals, and then on the 1 minute you can see it displayed as well too a little bit, but better on the 5. That's much better. Now you're taking another leg and an approach towards the low of the day. It sucks that the continuation in Bitcoin wasn't sustained. You've now given back all of that move, which you know what I'm about to say. Sucks to suck sometimes. Oh. Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Kind of my day right there, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, there it is. In, out, right as soon as it breaks through that support level, Sharif, and glad that we didn't hold on to that one for too long.
Okay. Shout out to Bovin, bringing to my attention KIDZ. KIDZ, yes, bring in the jokes, no, seriously, this one is moving though. 20 some odd %. Obviously, it's a dollar name, so 20%, not the biggest move. Bovin is going to have to hold this area right here, right where it pulled into. This $1.70, that's VWAP. This loses VWAP. I want nothing to do with it whatsoever. KIDZ is a former convict, though, and by that I mean it runs like it's known to be, a daily gapper. And just looking at the daily chart, you can see these outsized days, but with an overall downtrend. Much like most of these small cap gappers, most of them do have downtrends. Okay, they have outsized days, which is why we get involved. So if it holds a $1.70 Bovin, I'm gonna get involved maybe for another, high of day test. Otherwise, I'm just not interested. I'm not gonna try to grasp at straws. But ATAI, I do have a dip trade. I'm waiting at 14, so it makes a new high there. I'm just gonna work in super small share size over here, just so that we can say we're involved in something, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm involved in there. I got in at 20s. I'm still going to DCA into 14s. It just dipped into 15s there, but didn't fill me. So we'll pack our patience. Shout out to Tisha, Fig, just sticking around and watching for the move. Many talking about it, so hopefully it goes. Yeah, Tisha, so do I. Hopefully we execute well on this one. But we got to go back to Adara. She's got breaking news.
Do on Google, GOGL, apparently, according to a court filing, losing its U.S. appeal, challenging the order to revamp its app store in its Epic Games lawsuit. Looks like it will, I guess, have to revamp this app store. At the very least, it's lost its appeal, which was, I guess, trying to challenge that ruling. So keep an eye on GOGL. Keep an eye on Robinhood as well. We still have more comments coming from SEC Chair Paul Atkins, saying that he's actually requested that staff collaborate with businesses aiming to distribute tokenized securities. We know one of those businesses is HOOD. This one still in a steady downtrend from its high at 109 today. Back to you.
The issue, Neil, that I'm having is where the hell do I place my stop? I just need to know where the opening price is going to be. That's my concern. So I got to be staring at the screen, right? Like that's it. Oh, no question about it. Yeah. Now, the Katina man and Neil just give me some advice here, guys. That's why I'm talking to them off camera. It's not a trade I typically take all that much. But anyway, Joey. Yeah, we're involved now in ATAI. We're trying to pick up some over here. I don't mind adding more into 14s. I should have been waiting at 15 because it worked into 15, but we didn't get the fill. So we'll wait over here and we'll see. I'm waiting at the $0.25 for a beak wetter and then we'll wait at 30. So ATAI involved in this one. But I'm keeping my eye on KIDZ, Bovin, because it's still technically, holding that general VWAP area. Not exactly rocketing up or anything, but holding that area. If it catches a bid off that area and shows me a green candle, I'll punch into it. Let's, in fact, throw it over here. KIDZ is the ticker, or Z, for my American friends out there. Showing a $1.71 now, Bovin. I don't know why it's not updating on my thing over here. SNGX. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at, Joey. What do you got on your end, my man?
Yeah, no, I was going through the earnings here, guys, to see what we got going on. It's an action-packed lineup tonight, Sharif. So you guys got a lot to cover.
Oh, boy.
Apple, Amazon,
never heard of
Strategy, Coin, Reddit, Cloudflare.
What are all these names you're talking about?
Roku. Whoa, man.
What happened, Joseph?
That is a star-studded lineup, my friend. That is the A-listers right there. So some really good stuff. I thought that was Fisker. I'm like, no, Fisker's, I don't even think that exists anymore. Roku, though, I'm looking forward to that one.
They're still selling these Fisker Oceans on Auto Trader. Joseph,
yeah,
they were buying them brand new was like 70, 80. You know what are they selling for now, Joey?
15.
Come on, bro. Why do you have to be so extreme? They're not selling for 15, bro. I can't even buy a go-kart for 15.
25.
35.
That's
all right,
like, man.
It's bigger than 50%.
I'm just trying to negotiate.
You made me look bad there. I'm trying to negotiate. I already have this.
That's me, man. You know what I mean? I just try to get that price down a little bit.
All the people that actually bought them thinking that, maybe the company comes out of bankruptcy, they all got rinsed on it. They bought it for like 50, 60, 15,000.
I remember seeing a couple of them.
They're still on Auto Trader, man.
Yeah.
We got to go back to Adara.
Yeah, just be aware here, guys. We do have a White House press briefing with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt that is set to start at 1 p.m. Eastern, so in about 8 minutes from now. Usually it's a little bit late. Either way, I'll give you guys coverage, let you know when she steps onto the podium and when she is done. Back to you.
Yeah, Joey, what do you got? I didn't even hear what you said.
Brand used. Brand used. All right. So, guys, let's do this here now. All right.
You're doing it
because I know everyone here in the room is curious. Joseph, what's the expected move on this? What's the expected move on that?
Uh-oh.
Well, guess what?
The top's back down to 100.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
I'm canceling my order.
No, don't do it, bro. You did it?
I'm choking. I didn't cancel anything.
All right. I'm watching you, man. I will disconnect your keyboard, brother.
You see this guy, bro? He's threatening me. I love it.
There you go. No, obviously, I'm messing around. I would never do that with him knowing me doing it. But that's a... yeah. All right, guys, let's take a look.
What a guy.
Yeah. So we're going to go through some of these earnings reports right now. Sharif, keep me posted just in case Fig opens up.
Yeah, you keep me posted.
Yeah.
Worried over here.
You're not kidding. Man, what a great time, man.
Everybody in a 5-mile radius is going to hear the Katina man yell about this.
I got the Kevin Costner Beetlejuice look going on right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there he goes. He's locked in. I could eat my lunch. Maybe we'll just do a eat the lunch segment or something. I'm hungry. But okay, guys.
What happened, Neil?
Is it Keaton?
Michael Keaton, not Kevin Costner.
No, in a perfect
very
world.
much Keaton
A
in
perfect
Beetlejuice.
world.
Yo, you're upsetting Neil, man.
No, yeah, come on, hold on, man. We got to pull this up. Time out. Yeah, perfect world. You guys don't know this movie?
I love you
on.
guys, man.
This is, yeah, this guy right here. It's my boy right
Show
here.
him.
Yeah, we're going to show him right here.
That's Kevin Costner.
That's my guy, Costner, Waterworld. Right there, look at
Waterworld's
it.
a
Yeah,
sick
oh, see, look
movie.
at Butch. Yeah, that's the look I'm going for, Butch, man. He's got the old cig in the mouth there. I don't smoke cigarettes, but he's got the rolled sleeve too and everything with the white
Get
tee.
it, Joe.
With the white tee under there. Remember this kid for all my
With the
savvy
white
vets who
tee.
remember this. What a great movie this is, A Perfect World. Yeah, it's a really, really good movie. So shout out to this one here. So yeah, that's the look your boy's going for.
Man, I watched Waterworld one time.
Waterworld? I haven't seen
One
that.
time.
I haven't seen that movie in a long
You know that there
long time.
actually are water worlds? Like exoplanets that are just basically
Pure water?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, all right. Sorry, guys. Sorry to kind of get distracted there as we're talking about my guy Costner. So Apple 4% expected move, $217 to the top side, $200 to the downside. All right. So that's the expected move. The at the money is really expensive, 97.3%. Now let's go to Amazon here and see what we got cooking up. We did this morning. That's going to be 4.9%. All right, so that's going to put us a high of around 246.35 and a low of around 223.27. All right, so keep that in mind. MicroStrategy, other known as Strategy, MSTR, starting to raise some chaos here. I was going to say the other word. 3.7%. Wow, that's not too much. With 69% at the money IV, I think it surpasses that there for all my options, guys. So just keep that in mind. I could be totally wrong. Obviously, I don't know. If I did, I would have significant bundles of cash. And I'm talking about I'd be hanging out with Bezos and Miss Sanchez there. So there we go. Coin, we are looking at a 6.4% expected move with a high of around 408 and a low of around 359.40. Keep an eye out on the options chain for high levels of open interest as well, too. That can tell you quite a bit about what's going on. RDDT, let's go. RDDT, let's see what we got cooking up on this one here, guys. $158 with the low, 11.4% expected move. Wow, that is crazy, crazy at the money IV. You're going to be paying out the wazoo for that one. A high of 176.24 and a low of 140.09. That is quite the expected move to beat. I don't know how well that's going to go, but keep an eye out on that one. Net, sorry, Shrif, a couple more before I send it back to you, brother. 10.2% expected move here on Cloudflare. That's going to put us a high of around 231.09 and a low of around 188.31. 241% at the money IV. Keep an eye out on that one. You don't want to be buying contracts. You want to wait for that to cool off and then start writing as some individuals like to. And then Riot and Roku is what we'll finish up on, RIT. I know some people are talking about Mara and why it's selling off of a good report. I don't know. These Bitcoin miners aren't the way to go, in my opinion, from an investment standpoint. Just yet, I could be totally wrong. But Riot with a 7.1% expected move, high of 1471, low of 1279, 168 at the money IV. And our final, last but not least, Roku. Roku. Shout out to Roku TV. We got a at the money IV of 208%, an expected move of 10.3%, high of 104, and a low of 85 there, guys.
All right, guys, we're going to start the news while we wait for Figma. So I'm going to keep the screen over here active. Guys, let's talk about Meta. Oh, my God. All right, so we're going to go through some basic numbers, obviously, and then we'll get to the nitty-gritty of how they did it in every segment. So their EPS was insane. $7.14. The street was looking for $5.92. So I don't know how the street was, they got it completely wrong on this. Meta just really surpassing expectations in every regard here. Revenue, $47.5 billion. I'll zoom in a little bit. I think that should help a little bit there. $47.5 billion on $44 billion expected. That's a 22% year-over-year increase on that top line. But look at this, Joey.
Yeah.
$47.5 billion is their revenue. Of their advertising revenue, $46.5 billion. I mean, what does this company do? You think they're a social media? They're an advertising company. Obviously, everybody knows that. I just didn't know it was so tilted one way. they are obviously looking at becoming more, right? They want to be AI, they want to be devices, obviously with Orion and Meta glasses, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that's a very interesting number there. Their net income, the amount of money that they took home after expenses and everything, rose 36% year over year, up to $18.33 billion. But management did warn that Q4 will slow down a little bit, and the comps are going to be skewed because there's such strong comparisons to what they're doing right now. So they don't expect to be able to do as well. So something to look out for there, but the market's already pricing that in. Now, what are they guiding? Their Q3 revenue guide, they're guiding $47.5 billion up to $50.5 billion. The consensus estimate completely off there. Once again, the street was thinking $46 billion. So even the low end of their guide above expectations. With their 2025 expense outlook, going to raise slightly here. They're raising the range up from 114 to 118 billion as a result of the compensation packages they've been paying. 9 digits sometimes compensation for some of these people they're hiring, as well as their AI spend. They're spending big on data centers, et cetera. With 2026 expected to grow nicely, expect acceleration due to the headcount and infrastructure. I'm talking about CapEx. The amount of money that they're going to actually spend is going to actually grow in 2026, not lessen. Let's talk about the Reality Labs here, because basically the only bad thing about Meta is Reality Labs, and it's bad from a financial perspective, not from an R&D future perspective, you would have to assume. So their VR and AR unit lost about a little bit more than $4.5 billion, and it brought in, Joey, about $370 million. So obviously very skewed one way. The loss was smaller than expected, than the street was looking for, but so was the revenue. The revenue was actually a lot less than the street thought they would bring in, but their user base, oh baby, it keeps growing and growing up to almost now, Joey, 3.5 billion daily active users, again beating the estimates of 3.43. The actual number was 3.48 billion, but total expenses did rise to acquire those new users about 12% year over year, now up to about 27 billion. Last but not least, their CapEx and infrastructure strategy. They did raise CapEx guidance from the low end there, from previously guiding $64 billion, are now guiding 66 to 72 billion, exploring also external partners for their data center build-outs to help scale that AI infrastructure. But needless to say, Joey, this is a very aggressive report.
Yeah. I mean, I was not expecting this from a couple of these guys. You come to the lower end of the range and it says, no, we're just gonna decide to go parabolic here and have a massive gap up. So that was fantastic. But yeah, Sharif, from what does Zuck's got going on from a strategic standpoint? An aggressive pursuit of AI infrastructure, including hundreds of billions long term, which is absolutely insane. Also, the video game engagement is up 20% year over year. Wow. I don't know if you touched on that. So that's really looking good. And I mean, Reality Labs is coming in at a loss, but I think eventually that will start to pick up steam, especially if they continue to grow with these glasses. And I forget what their VR thing is called again. But yeah, the metaverse or whatever it may be. Yeah, Oculus. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I think Katina Man said he had one or something like that. But I've never personally used one. Curious to see how that goes. It's going to take some time. And if we do kind of sway in that direction, you're going to see a lot more adoption. And you're seeing the video game sector continuously grow 20% year over year. I think it'll grow a little bit more, especially if you get more individuals hopping off of Xbox and off of PS5 or whatever system you're at now and hopping into these augmented reality games.
Dara, what do you think about this report?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty solid report. Sorry, my chart still has Figma up. I think, I mean, Reality Labs is always going to be a little issue for them, of course, just because of the spending. But right now, it seems like the street's not too concerned about that. I think also, just from a chart perspective, I guess I will pull up a chart. I'll pull up my heavily marked up meta chart, so I apologize in advance for all the lines. But I think with META, the earnings AVWAP, it's definitely shown some interaction with. That is this big old red line. Ignore everything else I've drawn here. So we already bounced there post-market. We bounced there again right off the open. We bounced there again around 11. So unlike Microsoft, which I don't want to front run that for lack of a better term, but I think unlike Microsoft with Meta, we have buyers continuing to respect that earnings anchored view up in that price. And I think just, given the strength of that, given the fact that as we've talked about it actually exceeded his expected move, this buying does seem a little bit more sustained, and yeah, not at all a bad look for META.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic stuff. And I want to hear from you, Adara, on what you think would kind of slow this momentum down. Would you look at something from maybe companies are just starting to reduce their ad spend? And then also in the likes of these hyperscalers, what if they start reducing CapEx as well too? I'm curious to what you think about that. And until that happens, would you remain bullish on this market?
I mean, I am not a genie. I don't, I mean, I have a hard time like thinking forward because I mean, especially as someone who day trades, I want to wait and see what the market tells me, right? I know that's not a helpful answer, but that is the most honest answer I can give you. I think right now, spending, every time we see a report like, oh, things are reducing spending, they'll reduce their AI data center spend, that doesn't really seem to come out. I think unless and until we actually get a clear, not a report, not speculation, not in the case of Microsoft at one time, like some order for data centers, unless we have the companies say themselves, hey guys, we're not going to do as much spending, unless we see the hyperscales hyper de-escalating, I think until that point, it's not really something I feel like I want to speculate on, because it would just be that speculation. I think as of right now, the market is clearly liking these stories, especially Meta, because Microsoft was really not able to sustain the move. So I think until we actually get statements from companies making this very clear, I think speculating is kind of, it's not really something I think is even necessary.
It has to be kind of targeted with a runway to profitability and revenue generating. The CapEx obviously has to have an objective. Right. What is the objective, and how do you monetize? Are we going to monetize through advertising like we've been doing? We just talked about everything, all but $1 billion of 47 was ads. Yep. It's great. They're obviously very good at what they do. There's no question about that. Nobody's questioning Meta's ability to be a very targeted ad. But I don't think that that's what Zuck wants to be in the future. He has made it very clear in the past. One second, let me just finish my point. He's made it very clear in the past that he doesn't like being held down by Apple, by Android. He had ideas he wanted to put in his apps, and they wouldn't let him do it because they controlled the distribution through the App Store and the Google Play Store, whatever it's called now. So I think he has his own view to be the master of his own domain, and he's spending money in that regard. So he's going to be a devices company, Joey, at some point, as well as a software company. Now, can he wrap his mind around 50%, 40% gross margins and not high 80% gross margins, which is what he's getting with ads.
Fair. And the consumer has to like the product as well, too, in order to, right? So I think that's 100%. Really important. Now, from a monetization standpoint, how long do you think it is until we see some of these LLMs start advertising on them? ChatGPT, Perplexity, obviously Llama, and et cetera, right? So if we're going to monetize things, what are you going to? You're going to most definitely start to head in the direction of digital advertising.
I think for certain we monetize. I just want to see how they do it, what the execution looks like. Is it going to be blended in with the answer, or is it going to be an ad in the background? Like what's the deal? Even if you ask chat itself, it tells you I will be monetized. It just doesn't know when and how, right? Like,
I would most definitely lead to you type in a prompt. Well, guess what? Now you have to, like YouTube, right? You remember with YouTube, you would watch a video. Well, guess what? With every 10, 15-minute interval, you have to watch a video. Now, maybe with each individual prompt, you type in on ChatGPT, whatever it may be, Gemini, you have to listen and watch this ad, which I think would definitely, because I mean, like GPT is still growing. It's the fastest growing app of all time. I think it's only a matter of time until they start doing things.
All right, guys, I'm just going to pause for a second to tell you that PAPL, I know, Bovin, I'm sorry, I had to wait until this cleared the pre-market high. PAPL, where does this trade? On the MX? Yeah, on the MX exchange. This is flying. 595, it's up 100%. The reason I wasn't involved, and I was telling Bovin in the chat, I'm like, no, I'm not going to get involved until it takes out the pre-market high. And it did, and then some, and it's still going right now up into about 590 or 5 high 80s from what I can see. Let me just take off some of these other ones here, put in PAPL. Get a better look. 595 high day. Be on the lookout here. It held 5 quite well. It did pop up above 5, came back down, and generally held this area where we top wicked. So I see Tisha's involved in it as well. Here we go into the high of the day. We're showing 90s again. We were momentarily. So be on the lookout for PAPL. It is doing things, and those things are quite good. Let's go. We're going to go to Adara. She's got breaking news.
Keep an eye here in VSAT. Viastat. Apparently, Financial Times reporting that a hedge fund called Caranad estimates that a possible spinoff of Viastat could generate up to $11 billion in value. So this is a very speculative report, but either way, Financial Times estimating that a possible spinoff of Viastat or Viastat could generate up to $11 billion in value. This report sending Viasat to the upside. We're also waiting on Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to take the podium here. So I'll keep you guys posted when she takes the stage. Back to you.
Thank you. EPS, let's talk about SOFI now. Let's go on to SOFI as we wait for FIG to open. Neil's letting me know that the tap now is $97, guys. So the theoretical auction price on Figma dropping now from 105 down to 100 and it is now 97. So be on the lookout there. Figma, we're still waiting for that to open up. All right, let's talk a little SOFI here. Great strength on AI momentum as well as cloud. Here's how they did on their earnings. 365 earnings per share, 337 expected by the street. Strong bottom line beat there on revenue of $76.44 billion. Easily beating the 73.81, almost a $3 billion beat there, about 2.5, and an 18% increase year over year on that top line number. Their fastest growth rate in over 3 years. Great look for SOFI, who also took $27.25 billion home as profit, up nicely from the previous year on the quarter where they took home about $22 billion. Nothing bad to say about that. And it was driven, I don't want to say largely, but in large part by cloud, where they almost printed $30 billion in revenue, just shy, 29.88, up 26% year over year, and well above $1 billion, almost above that consensus estimate of 28.92. Azure, this is Joey's. Joey was taking a victory lap on this one yesterday. Azure growth, Joey, 39% increase in revenue year over year, trouncing the 34 to 35% expected by the street, with full year Azure cloud services now topping about $75 billion, which is a 34% bump year over year. The first time actually Microsoft disclosed the specific Azure figures. You don't disclose it unless there's something to be proud about there. Especially if you haven't in the past, so they were very proud of that. Now let's talk about their business and productivity processes revenue. That also brought in a very healthy $33.11 billion, again ahead of estimates of $32.12. Microsoft Copilot, Joseph's favorite, adoption was drove higher revenue per user across Office and their suites. And Copilot tools in Office and Windows have now 100 million, Joseph, monthly active users. You're involved in that number, baby.
Oh yeah, exactly. Most definitely, man. I mean, I like the simplicity of it, right? You just open up Edge, it's right there. You just hit that little button right there, and then sure enough, you have it.
Very convenient.
Exactly.
We're not done yet.
It's very convenient. Oh, okay.
We got more.
Continue there.
All right, let's go on to the more personal computing unit. That's like Windows and stuff like that. That brought in about $13.45 billion and 9% year-over-year increase, and again ahead of estimates. Their Windows license sales also tracked about 3% increase, which jives with the recovery of the PC market that we've been reading about. Now, AI spending explosion, and that's not an overstatement. CapEx just in Q4. So obviously we're not Q4 year-wise, but fiscally Microsoft is in Q4. They spent $24.2 billion in capital expenditures in that quarter. That's 27% increase year over year, driven what they've spent last year. It was driven largely in part by AI infrastructure as well as chip investments. So both those taking up a lot of their money. And their full year, 2026 now, CapEx, they're guiding here $120 billion. They're going to spend in CapEx next year, all of next year, which would be a 36% increase versus 2025, the current year. And the CFO, Amy Hood, basically forecasts about $30 billion in CapEx for Q1, which is next quarter, the one we're in right now, right? Last one here, Joseph, bullish forward guidance. So they guided well as well. With Q1 of 2026, they're guiding about $74.7 to $75.8 billion in revenue. Again, ahead of the estimates there of 74.09. And Azure growth. Not going to grow as quickly, though, Joseph. Last time it grew at 39%. Now they're guiding 37%. Again, ahead of that 33.7 expected by the street. And their operating margin up to about 46.5%, again, above consensus estimate.
Yeah, Shreve. You know, I've been monitoring since that previous report. I've been keeping an eye on Azure growth for sure, and I think that was going to be a big moment obviously in the earnings report. And sure enough, look what's happened when you have that monster beat. And I was referring to as well earlier in the day. There's analysts talking about there's about 5 to 7% of commercial revenue in Azure that wasn't accounted for, and then sure enough, you have the analyst estimates around 34%, and then it comes in at 39%. So that's fantastic stuff. I love seeing that, Shreve. And then also the intelligent, I don't know if you touched on this, the intelligent cloud. Did you touch on intelligent cloud? Yeah, I see. You got
right there.
Yeah. So that's another big time number as well too. So I like what we're seeing across this. And again, as long as this CapEx stays elevated, as long as there's cloud growth, I'm bullish these hyperscalers, Shreve. There's no questioning that, brother.
Adara, these are prohibitive numbers.
Yeah, those are some great numbers here. I actually want to talk more about Microsoft going forward, and that is going to be its relationship with OpenAI. These two men here on my screen, this is an infographic I put out a while ago. This is just basically Microsoft's stock price alongside its evolving relationship with OpenAI. The man to the right is Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI. Then we've got Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, on the left-hand side. So I think what's really interesting, too, is if you go back to Q4 2024, that's I guess a year ago now in Microsoft years, but they actually said that their OpenAI investment was going to be cutting into their profits. So this investment has been really lucrative, I think, and important for both companies, but it hasn't always been great when it comes to, I guess, Microsoft's numbers. Again, not something we really need to worry about right now, but given that there's been a lot of speculation that the relationship between this company is on the fritz, I think what matters next is how do these negotiations go down? Because lately we're hearing Microsoft is trying to get that AGI access from OpenAI. We have Sam Altman repeatedly saying he wants OpenAI to be the one to discover AGI. Our boy Zuck also wants that. You know, he's got.
There's actually more to that story, though, Adara. So there's actually a provision between the two companies that once Altman declares AGI, then Microsoft is entitled to more than what they're actually getting right now from OpenAI. So there's this incentive almost for Altman not to declare AGI so as not to give Microsoft more power, even though a lot of people are saying, we're already there. I know you already know about these tests, these standardized tests that were made to test these LLMs to see whether or not they achieved AGI, and they're beating them. They're passing most humans in those tests. So the relationship, to me, seems still adversarial because, I mean, if you've got power, you don't want to readily give it up, do you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to use a weird analogy, but as you describe it like that, the first thing that comes to my mind is Kanye and Jay-Z. You have someone who needs help. They're newer to the industry. In this case, obviously, Microsoft is Jay-Z, OpenAI is Kanye. And I'm also not talking modern Kanye. And he takes them under the wing. You know, I think Kanye described it best in his song Big Brother. But then what happens when you start going from wanting to mentor someone, have someone you're your protege, as you start being competitive with one another because you're very successful in the same field.
Well said.
And I think that's really, I apologize for the very weird analogy. I honestly think that's what's happening here with OpenAI and Microsoft. Will they have a watch the throne, or will they have an epic blowout? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. Thanks for chiming in. All right, let's talk a little Apple and Amazon. Make sure to catch that, obviously, tonight with the Katina Man and Adara on the Market Recap Show. We're going to be covering that. Apple's a little late. It'll be around 4:30. Let's start with Apple. Expected to post a 4.2% revenue increase for its April to June quarter, up to about a little bit less than $90 billion in revenue, 89.34. But all eyes will be on how it manages the rising U.S., China, India tariff tensions. Now, we know your boy Donald yesterday. Get it, Donald? Where are you? He's now imposing 25% tariffs on Indian imports, while Apple, for their part, have tried to shift a lot of these U.S.-bound iPhones to production in India to skirt those 54% Chinese tariffs. That's helped lessen some of the tariff costs, apparently to the tune here of around $900 million. We'll have to see whether or not that strategy continues to work, because Donald doesn't want them building it in India or anywhere other than the United States. iPhone sales, Joseph, expected to grow 2.2% year over year, really driven by Chinese demand, which has picked up lately, but not for free. They've been heavily discounting the phones and offering promotions to Chinese clients in order to spur Chinese demand, which until that time had been dropping off. Service remains their fastest growing segment. I know you always focus on that, Joey. Up 11.6% year over year, even though their hardware segment continues to slow down. Concerns persist over Apple's AI slow-ass rollout, let's just call it that, but we will be looking for their ChatGPT integration, which they've been talking about for a long time. So I'm going to pause so we can talk about Apple, and then we'll do Amazon on the next one.
Absolutely. I like how they're tapping into India. Right? I love that India, and it's been a while, right? You can see that they started selling iPhones there. I love that it's starting to grow over there. I think that's a big-time market that they can tap into as well. What do you want to keep an eye out for? Obviously, what's going on between Google and Apple, I'm really curious to see how that's going to run down. And service revenue, I think that's the thing that you most definitely want to keep an eye out on with Apple there. Let's pull this thing up.
Pull it up.
From a technical standpoint.
Hot garbage.
And this is, super, super hot garbage, man. And I'm going to be honest. Obviously, I'm joking. I'm being sarcastic. But my Apple experience isn't what I remembered it to be honest with you. And guys, I can get it. It's really, no. It may be a personal thing, but Sharif, if I'm feeling that, other people are feeling it across the board as well, too. And that's exactly why we see, I don't know if it's exactly why, but it can be a part of why the iPhone sales are continuously decreasing. Yeah, you're starting to recover a bit in China, but it's like, hey, we got other opportunities. If you're not going to give me the best of the best, then I'm going to go find something else in the likes of Huawei.
I respect that, man.
Right?
I respect that. Adira, what are you thinking about this?
In terms of Apple earnings, I think the AI is really just the thorn in their side. And I think China numbers are really going to matter. That's one of the biggest things lately. I mean, much like Starbucks, you want to see what they do with China. Now, I wonder, actually, with that in mind, if they do something similar to Starbucks. In case you guys missed it, Starbucks had pretty weak comparative sales across the board, except for China. That China number seemed to be one of the few things actually pushing Starbucks up. They gapped up and then sold off. Let's see. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what Apple does in terms of earnings. Expected move on this last time I checked was, I think, around the 3 to 4% range. So, I mean, I'll post an infographic with up-to-date expected move a lot closer to the report. But yeah, I think AAPL, Sharif, we call this one the dead one for a reason. It's not the most exciting intraday trade, though yesterday it actually looks like it would have been a pretty dope short. But either way, I think with Apple, numbers don't lie. Let's see how they perform. I think China's going to be huge. They usually don't miss in terms of like actual EPS and revenue numbers.
That's correct.
But they were down last time on earnings. I just checked. So we'll find out. I think if they do gap down, it's going to be less about the numbers and more about some small aspect of their report.
Yeah.
One more thing, let me add there. Okay, so aside the fact that we're down 20%, we know Apple's free cash flow.
Yeah.
Insane. And they really haven't put that to work. They haven't spent what the other hyperscalers have spent.
Not at all.
If they decide to do that, they can get this stuff right relatively quick. And that might change the narrative for Apple, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, again, I agree that AI has been the blunder of the years for them, but I don't feel that's the reason we've sold off on the stock. I really do feel this is a China-India story. They can't decouple from China, even if they move somewhere else. The input products are going to continue to come from China, whether they're assembled in Malaysia, Zimbabwe, or in my backyard. It doesn't make a difference. They're still going to be originating from China, and that will displease Donald and the administration, and they will adjust to make Apple pay. So, I don't mean Apple Pay like that, but you know what I'm saying. So that's just my opinion. Obviously, make of that what you will. All right, let's go on here. Let's talk a little Amazon, that is. They also report after the bell today on the market recap. Streets expecting them to post EPS of $1.33, up from the $1.26 they posted last year on the quarter on revenue. Joseph, this is a triple-digit number. $162 billion in revenue, which would be a 10% bump year over year. Now, thankfully, not thankfully, but notably here, their margins are a lot lower, so they're not taking home most of that 162. Yeah. AWS does remain the star, Joey. Expected to grow 17% year over year in Q2 and lead the profit generation despite, being less than 20% of their revenue. AWS operating margins remain a key watch point. Meta and Alphabet also were important points for them as well. And their AI tailwind, we're talking about, these not TPUs, what do they call them? Trainiums. They got these specialized let's call them AI processors that are being made by AVGO, by Broadcom. And so they're putting those in their data centers. They're planning $100 billion in CapEx by the end of this year to meet that AI cloud demand. And their core, their retail, like what everybody uses them for. I mean, most people, online, physical, third party, that's expected to hit $103 billion in revenue, which would be a 7% bump year over year, highlighting that brand resilience. Their ad revenue, not something they're known too much for though, Joseph, but now they're in the ad game as well, forecasted to bring in $27 billion in Q2, up 14% year over year. And look at this. So $27 billion is what they're bringing in revenue. Meta's bringing 46. So Meta's the king of ads. But you got to say that Amazon is working its way up there. $27 billion ain't no joke.
Hey, man,
right?
that is no joke. You got Prime, and you have the actual retail business.
There you go.
Too,
and what's it called? The app. The app, has bare ads.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The e-commerce.
My bad,
right? Yeah.
The tariffs, though, are the wild card, Joey. So the average U.S. tariff rose about 2.4% in Q1 to 10% in June. And Q3 impact on margins could actually finally materialize. We'll have to wait to the report. The guidance here will be critical. The top line growth, that revenue number, may not be enough if the gross margins outlook especially sour under the rising tariff costs. So that is definitely something I'm going to be looking out for there. Very interesting here for Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a beat on cloud. AWS is going to get that beat, and I think you're going to see the beat on advertisement revenue as well too. Why? Because you have Prime. Obviously, you're getting the football games. They've been doing that for a while, but they're diving more into sports. Okay, you're grabbing another user base. You're looking at some more clientele. You're broadening that perspective. I think that's going to increase as well. And then obviously AWS with all this AI spend and et cetera. I think that we're going to see some beats across the board on those two specific divisions there, brother.
Futures are at days low. Katina Man says, so you're seeing the ES now down a fifth of green, 1/5%, and the NQ's barely in Greensville. Adara, any comments about the Amazon earnings coming out tonight? I think it's like 4:05 usually that they drop earnings. What do you think about this one, Adara?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest here. I think one of the biggest potentially interesting aspects came up again yesterday. It has to do with Amazon's tariff impacts here on their prices. We know yesterday a senator, Democratic senator, I believe her name was Maggie Hassan, sent a letter to the company, as reported by Axios, being like, hey, your tariff prices are impacting groceries. And that wasn't the first time we heard of that either. I'm going to see if I can quickly scroll and find this infographic, but we know, yes, here it is. Back on April 29th, 2025, Caroline Levitt, who, by the way, guys, just started speaking, press conference live. Caroline Levitt kind of set the stock on a downturn. There were some reports that Amazon was going to show the cost of Trump's tariffs on each product. The Trump administration said, no, don't do that. Caroline showed this cute little photo of Jeff Bezos. The stock dropped, and then we kind of had some intraday volatility as we continue to digest whether or not Amazon was actually going to do this. Now, it looks like they're not showing the tariff impacts, but it sounds like the tariffs are still impacting prices. I think if that gets addressed, it could be interesting. I don't know if it's going to be the biggest thing in terms of like the actual report, but from an investor in stock, I think company sentiment perspective is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, we can address that tariff impact. I got the data right here, Darius. So the tariff rate actually rose from 2.4% in Q1 to 10% in June. So to build on your point, that is a huge hit on margins, which are already tight for these physical products. Think about it, right? You're not making the same type as you are on AWS. You're not making the same amount as you are on ads. So to build your point, very accurate. Thank you for guiding in there. Let's go on to the next story over here. Figma, oh baby. That's the one everybody's waiting for. I kind of went through this, but I'm going through it again. Figma is what you see here in the background. That's what I'm waiting for overall. It's not in the background, sorry. But that's what we're all waiting for. The Katina Man, Neil, myself, Joey, we're all waiting for Figma to go. And where's the tap at right now, Katina Man? Show 90, back down to $90. Joey, I'm canceling my loop. I'm canceling it. No, seriously though. So the IPO priced at $33 a share. That was already up from the previous 30 to 32 range, so it was already oversubscribed before it even made its way onto the market. Check. The stock ticker is going to be FIG. It's going to be on the NYSE if you need to select your exchange there, if it doesn't do it automatically. And with this IPO, they've raised about $1.2 billion, and most of that money is going to weasel on over to the existing shareholders. Now, with that $33 a share, I'm not saying that's what it's going to open up, that at $33 a share, They're valued at about $19.3 billion. We'll have to see what the market cap is by day's end. And you'll recall, Figma was in discussion here to be in the public markets a few years ago when Adobe proposed to acquire them for about $20 billion. But they kind of let that go after regulatory pushback with Lina Khan and crew. Figma did receive, though, from Adobe for breaking up about $1 billion there. So they came out a little bit better as a result. And now, look, they're going to find their way onto the public markets. Let's talk about the financial performance of the company. Their June quarter is expected to bring in about $247 to $250 million. That would be a 40% bump year over year if you compare that to the June quarter from 24. Their operating results as well is expected to be, sort of between about $500,000 to $2.5 million, which is a sharp recovery from the almost $900 million in operating losses that they had back in 23. Mostly stock-based compensation, though, so they had to pay their people. The March quarter grew 46% year over year, up to $228 million, and net income tripled to about $45 million. Give you an idea about what this company is. Founded, as I mentioned earlier, back in 2012 by the current CEO, Dylan Field, and another guy named Evan Wallace. It's headquartered in San Fran, but they have offices everywhere, Joey. France, Germany, Japan, Singapore, the UK. They are now among the most watched design SaaS, which stands for software as a service, particularly after the failed takeover by Adobe. And Dylan Fields, he's still the largest shareholder, Joey. He's got about 56.5 million shares and voting control over an additional 26.7 million shares. But there are obviously institutional investors right there on your screen. All major shareholders, though, are selling a portion of their holdings into the IPO. Did you guys hear this? All major shareholders in Figma currently are selling a portion of their holdings in the IPO. So, pardon me? Yeah, I know, Neil, but that could mean some downward selling pressure. That's just all I'm thinking about there. I mean, so Farm Trader, I told you. Well, brother, I mean, I didn't even see your message. I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's an interesting one there, Joey. I mean, I didn't even highlight that. I should have been highlighting that. That requires a green highlight there, Joey. But no, seriously, any thoughts here on what we just spoke about?
No, honestly, to be honest with you, I don't know too much about Fig. I'm waiting for this thing to open up from a technical standpoint to see what's going on. We'll dig a little bit more into that without any questions as soon as it opens up. And if it works out in our favor, then we will want to know a little bit more about what's going on with Fig.
All right, Dara, what do you think about this? You taking this one, or what's your situation up there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be trading this. I do not have a moo or a loo ready to go. I mean, you guys know what I'm like. If I see anything, I'm not afraid to short something like this. So if this does end up looking a little wavy, I have no problem shorting it. Circle was something that you could have shorted as an IPO. I know Obi, shout out to Obi. He actually shorted, I think, at one point the Circle IPO. So, I mean, honestly, with Figma, I'm going to wait and kind of see what it does. I did look into Dylan Field, the founder, a little bit. I did not a whole deep dive, a lukewarm medium dive. And so what's interesting is he actually was a recipient of the Teal Fellowship. Now, the Teal Fellowship, for people who don't know, is often viewed kind of cynically as a bribe to not go to college, though that is also legally what it is. Peter Thiel says, hey, I'll pay you a whole bunch of money if you don't go to college and you work on something. And there have been a lot of people who were really successful who were Teal Fellows. I know Lucy Guo, who was the co-founder with Alexander Wang, but she's no longer with the company, at Scale AI. She was involved with this. Obviously, Dylan Field was involved with this. So yeah, I think definitely interesting pedigree. He's pretty young as well. He's only 33 years old. So great success for the company. I want to look at Adobe, one of my spready ticker friends over here. Adobe's just down here with the rest of the market. But yeah, ADB has gotten really beat up lately. I'm not, not to say that the Figma deal would have significantly improved or, been better or worse for ADBE, but it is interesting to look at this chart. As we have this Adobe weakness, Figma set, even with this IPO price kind of waffling, to open well above its range. So tale of two stories on those ones, I guess.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I agree with you, Adara. That's an interesting look there, especially with Adobe dropping off. All right, let's talk a little Robinhood. Oh my goodness. I don't know where it's at right now, but I don't really care where it's at because this is one hell of a report. They're down about 2 3/4, 2 4/5. Let's talk about this because there's a lot of very insane numbers here. So let's start with the basics, Joey. EPS came in at 42 pennies, easily beating the 31 expected by the street on revenue of a little bit less than $1 billion, about $989 million in revenue. But that was a surge, guys. 45% increase year over year on the quarter in revenue and easily topping estimates by almost $1 billion, $100 million. 989 is what they printed. The street was looking for 908. Their net income more than doubled. 105% increase in their net income up to $386 million. Do the math, guys. 989 and basically their take-home money was 386. You know what their margins are. Super simple. With adjusted EBITDA rising 82% to $549 million. Again, easily beating the street by $101 million because consensus was 448. We just got to pause and go to Adair for a second.
Lilly taking a bit of a hit here. Caroline Levitt calling out this company by name when talking about these pharma tariffs, saying, I'm calling on Eli Lilly and all other pharma companies. So odd that this one gets called out by name. But either way, LLY dropping here. Basically, Caroline Levitt saying that the Trump administration is requesting that a whole bunch of these pharma companies, again, including Lilly, take a host of actions within the next 60 days, including implementing the most favored nations pricing policy. Basically, we know that one of Trump's issues that he's been really vocal about is trying to have, I guess, pricing across the board here for drugs so that they're more competitive with regards to lower pricing in the EU and abroad. So interesting look here. LLY on the move. I'll send you back to the Bash Brothers.
All right. Thank you for that, Adair. Let's go on to their we're talking Robinhood earnings here, guys. It was a fantastic report with Neil and I yesterday on the Market Recap Show. Let's talk more about this, Joey. The funded customers rose by 2.3 million new customers. Not 2.3%, Joey. 2.3 million new customers now up to, they got 26.5 million above the 26.1 estimate by the street. Good look there. Investment accounts also grew 10% year over year. They got about 27.4 million of those bad boys, and their assets on the platform surged 99% year over year, Joseph, to about $280 billion, really driven by deposits, acquisitions, market gains. Take your frickin' pick. And their gold subscribers, as you were talking about earlier, my man, hit 3.5 million now, 76% bump year over dang year.
Let me do the honors for the next bit. You mind?
Okay. Yes,
you mind if
course.
I do the honors? All right, you ready for this, guys?
I'm ready, Joey.
Transaction-based revenue, $539 million, 65% year over year. Options trading revenue, $265 million, 46% year over year. Cryptocurrency revenue, $160 million, 98% year over year. And then equities revenue, $66 million, 65% year over year. That's exactly those types of numbers that got me involved with this name when I dumped Tesla at the lows and I rotated into Robinhood and bought some of that name at the lows as well, too.
Dance on him, boy.
Dance on him, man. Come on,
go,
man.
baby.
All the heat I caught for selling Tesla. Well, your boy rotates into Robinhood there.
All right, let him know something.
Yeah,
here,
we got to sign up for this one.
All right.
Here.
I can do it. All right. So here we go. I got you. Cecino, always, brother. E-Signal, baby. New traders, listen the hell up. First month, it's free. That's right. We're waiving all the fees so you can trade smarter, not harder. All by upgrading to that elite experience where you'll analyze, strategize, and then hopefully after all that, you'll capitalize using their platform. It's got everything: infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, and game-changing charts. And you can predict better with their backtesting tool, guys. You get reliable, real-time data, global markets literally at the tips of your fingers, and all in one platform. So do not miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready and only if you're ready to elevate your trading. Scan that QR code or check the link in the description. Shout out to the good folks there at E-Signal. I could go on here, Joseph, but I want to look at this betting markets and cultural finance thing because it's a burgeoning area, especially with the Kalshi and Poly market. Their prediction betting markets are trading hit $1 billion in revenue last quarter and $2 billion since launch. Obviously, it's nascent, so So we'll see probably more increasing there. The stronger user engagement, though, not surprised there, Joey, sports betting. And they're also looking at expanding into news and pop culture. So you'll be able to bet on anything.
Yeah, what kind of contracts are they called again? There's something. I forget. What was the term for them?
I know IB does them as well.
Yeah, event contracts.
Event contracts.
Event contracts.
Yeah, so any I know you went over this. Is Adara at the big desk or no?
So from now on, when I decide to place like a UFC bet, an event contract.
There you go.
It's an event contract.
She there or no? Okay, so let's go to Adara. Let's see what she has to think about Hood.
With a lot of these, I know I'm kind of looking forward, but I don't want to talk over anything that's been said. I think one thing for Robinhood that is huge is going to be the tokenized stock situation. By that, I mean, we know they're trying to get these tokenized stocks in the EU. OpenAI came out and said, hey guys, that's not allowed, that's not approved. They weirdly did this 2 days after the announcement was made, but nonetheless, OpenAI said they're not a fan of it. I know, really it looks like they're going to find some kind of way to do it, I think, for Robinhood. But what's interesting too is we even just got some commentary an hour or so ago. I reported on it when we got it. We did have the SEC, new chair Paul Atkins, saying that they're going to actually be working directly with companies that want to tokenize stocks. It's unclear to what degree they're going to be doing this, but I think this is maybe either a potential huge tailwind or a notable headwind for Robinhood going forward, depending on the implementation. With that in mind, I always have these infographics here in X at TTV Research. I showed this one yesterday for earnings. It's up to date as of like the last quarter. But I think one thing, if you look at these, they had a lot of pretty massive headwinds going back. SEC allegations back in Q4 2020, they had to pay $65 million. There was all that controversy with regard to the GameStop short squeeze. They had all these layoffs. The stock really plummeted initially after their IPO. I think now Vlad Tenev has a more professional look. I think the company has a more professional sheen to it. And I think right now, honestly, it looks like a lot of these bigger headwinds for Robinhood are very much behind it. Let's see how the tokenized stocks end up forming. I think it's a solid report. No one can argue with those numbers. Maybe traders today didn't like it as much. It was pretty waffly in terms of how it traded, but the market does not always respond to fundamentals the way we expect it to. So solid report. Congrats to Vlad and co.
Building on your point there, Derek, we got the crypto report from the White House yesterday. And part of that report was the initiative to tokenize equities, stocks, bonds, funds, real estate. So you get that push from the administration. So you love how Robinhood was kind of new to that. They kind of were one of the leaders, SOFI as well. And now they're getting that regulatory tailwind pushing them ahead. So good view for them, and you love to see this because it kind of removes a lot of the BS. For example, Joseph and I yesterday were talking real estate. You come to buy a house. What do you got to do? You got to go to a lawyer. Why? Because they're the only ones with the card to the Land Titles Act in order to be able to transfer property from one person to another. You put that on the blockchain, I can transfer it, right? So you love to see the repatriating of, a lot of this ownership and
giving it back to the people too.
There you go.
Right? I think that's huge.
Exactly. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Yeah, I think you got to look at it from kind of a fundamental standpoint. Well, not fundamental, but kind of where is this going to lead? Ethereum, obviously, you got to put all this tokenization on a blockchain.
Well said.
And that's what led me to getting some more involved in Ethereum. We used to call this name dead, but now with all this tokenization, it has to go on some form of blockchain, and Ethereum is going to be the leading one.
I love it. So let's talk a little ARM, Joey. ARM, where is it at? Is it still tanking over here? Where is it at? Show yourself, ARM. It's down 13%. Okay, so we know this one, obviously, only about 10% of the float is actually tradable. In public markets, 90%, I think, or some odd is held by SoftBank, so it is quite volatile when it pops and drops. Let's talk about how they did, though. EPS of 35 pennies on revenue of 1.05 billion. Both matched Wall Street consensus, nor above nor below, just matched. Despite the inline quarter, though, the stock dropped as much as 5.8% after hours. That was yesterday, baby, because it's down 12.8% right now, reflecting, obviously, investor disappointment. We'll go on with some of the more details, but we got to stop for Adara for a second.
Yeah, guys, I don't know how else to put this. Donald Trump just faxed a whole bunch of letters and posted them on Truth Social. What were these letters, you may ask? Well, I just mentioned earlier that Caroline Leavitt mentioned that they're going to be, I guess, going after these pharma companies. Trump has actually sent letters to the CEOs of Eli Lilly, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, AbbVie, Novo Nordisk, Bristol Myers Squibb, Amgen, GSK, amongst others. Basically, they're all the same letter, just with a different CEO and company name. But either way here, Donald Trump making it very clear to these pharma companies they want most favored nation pricing and returning increased revenues to, weirdly, increased revenues from abroad to Americans. So the revenues they're making abroad, they want to be sent to America. Either way, yeah, lots of letters here. Keep an eye on these pharma tickers because Donald Trump and this administration are making it very clear they want these pharma companies to respond to their demands. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. Let's go on and talk about the guide here for our friend ARM. They are guiding revenue of between 1.01, so basically the same thing that they printed this quarter, up to, though, 1.11, roughly, again, in line with the estimates, with the midpoint being around that 106 expected by the street. Earnings guidance was also in line with really no meaningful upside surprise to excite traders. And, the analysts, they're okay here. So KeyBank's John Vin reiterated his overweight rating on ARM and the 175 price target, not dropping it, not increasing it. Some of the positives he says here, upside from iPhone build cycles. What is he talking about? Negative weakness here, apparently from Android demand, weakness in Android demand in China, acting as a bit of a headwind on ARM, who's obviously involved in mobile chips. And the business model is quite interesting here. We know ARM licenses chip designs to firms like Apple, like Qualcomm. Its latest chip design, the ARM V9, has higher royalty rates and as well as growing adoption. So ARM is also gaining traction in the cloud, in the server business. They have a high-end cloud server chip targeting major clients like your Microsofts and your Nvidias. So it's nice to see them kind of open up a new avenue for revenue. Their shares were, Joey, up about yesterday, 30% year to date, which easily outperforms the iShares Semiconductor ETF. But, we're going to take about 13% off that bad boy because they're down today.
Yeah, we're down big time today. Now we're 24% off of those previous all-time highs. But as Sharif mentioned, if you want to go from the trough here all the way to this peak, you're up 100%. So that's a double from those April lows. So that's a pretty good look, but you are experiencing somewhat of a gap down now. But just keep in mind, if this does decide to close at as a hammer or anything along those lines, I believe this gap will be filled, right? We can see that it's a repeat offender. I know you can see this small gap right here filled at some point. Another gap, that was wick, but another gap filled here, right? So I think that at some point we'll be able to take advantage of this as a potential trade and fill this complete gap. But first, what you want to wait for is this indecision type PA. So we'll go across the board and you can see these hammers printed as the stocks are turning around. So you want to wait, be patient for that to come into play. So there's one, here's another one right here. Here's another one right here. Here's multiple across the board. So that's the specific signal I'm going to be keeping an eye out for, just in case ARM does want to fill that gap to the top side tree.
What do you think about this new avenue that they're opening up, Adara, with some of these hyperscalers, not just Apple and mobile chips and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's certainly going to be an interesting look. I think with these hyperscalers, I think the reports tonight are going to certainly be pretty fruitful as well. Yeah, I don't have too much to add on this. I'm just kind of waiting here for this Figma IPO. But yes, I think in terms of what we're talking about with this ARM report, the ARM I find has a tendency to guide a little bit weak, and then they'll come out and provide decent numbers.
That's fair,
right?
Okay.
So I think with ARM, it's a story of, I don't want to say a story of more woe, to use that quote, but I think it's same old, same old. And again, I have an eidetic memory. I do tend to notice tendencies in how these companies report. ARM tends to do this. I think right now, though, from a stock perspective, it looks like this thing wants to continue to be sold off. It's a short until it's not. And I think this was a recent IPO or from last year that did really well, had a really good IPO, continued strongly after that. Lately has been on a little bit of a struggle bus. I think, the ARM Qualcomm, not to go ahead.
We're getting to that one next.
Woes are, I think, on watch too as well. So let's see what happens. Right now, looks a bit of a sell.
All right. Speaking of Qualcomm, good segue. Let's get to that one next because that one also reported very similar business mode to ARM. Not the same, but very similar. Let's talk about how they did. They printed about $2.77 in earnings per share, beating the $2.71 consensus expected by the street on revenue of $10.4 billion. Again, ahead of the consensus estimate of $10.3. So despite the beat, we're down. Where are we down here, Joey? Let's have a look. Qualcomm down 7.5. Is it SSR? The answer to that is no. ARM, the only one SSR. Reflecting kind of muted market enthusiasm. Let's talk about the guide as well. So Q3 guidance here between 10.3 to 11.1, bracketing sort of that 10.6 average estimate. The guidance was viewed, though, as unexciting despite being above the lower bound of expectations. You got to guide a lot higher now. Nvidia setting a standard here, baby. Is it deeply discounted? Is it a value play now? Well, analyst Stacy Raskin from Bernstein reaffirmed their outperform rating and $185 price target. Qualcomm does trade, though, at a 40% discount to some of its chip peers and a 50% discount. We're talking about EPS here. The PE, excuse me, to the S&P. So it trades at a 40% discount to some chip peers and about a 50% discount to the S&P. The market sentiment was dragged down by tariffs. Sentiment remains cautious due to obviously weak demand for smartphones. We've seen that with Apple. We've seen it with certain Android phones as well. The tariff headwinds from China are certainly not helping things get better, and the general investor sort of apathy towards the hardware names, Joey, because they are lower margin, more liking, these software margins, 89% gross margins. That's where all the love is going these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as from a margin standpoint, I was just reading up on it here. It did beat, I believe, Sharif. It came up a little bit higher than expected. So operating margins improved to 34%, up 1% from the previous point last year. 34? Yeah, right? Compared 34. To the 80s, as you mentioned before, right? So just keep that in mind. But the automotive segment revenue surged 59% year over year to $959 million, which is very interesting as well. So.
Yeah, just okay.
Yeah, Qualcomm. Oh,
yeah, we can send it to Adara. I mean, Adara, any view on Qualcomm? I don't mean to catch you off guard there.
I'm just listening to Caroline Levitt still, but I do have a view on Qualcomm, and my view on Qualcomm is I find this one tends to be very sensitive. Like, I remember there was one quarter they beat on everything. They think we're down year over year on one smaller segment. It might have been automotive, but either way, the stock dropped. I think right now, this gap down is probably the last thing Qualcomm's daily chart needed. Higher highs, higher lows, beautiful uptrend, $164 flat top break. Oh wait, except not, because it gapped down and now it's down like $20 from that level. So QCOM, this is not an impressive chart. It is a chart that makes one a little sad. It's not a great look at, and unfortunately, I think, to finish that bounce off the Schneid there, off that Liberation Day low, we really needed, I guess, the better response to this report. Like we always say, as Neil says, it's not a good or a bad report. It's how the market reacts. The market's reacting poorly, and it's actually knocking this thing off of its uptrend and off of its feet. So I think that the automotive revenue, good sign, but the market just does not seem to care about what this name does either way ever.
No, they're not pumped. No. Guys, I want to remind you, vote every day. Make sure you're voting. Figma, obviously, leading the pack right now, boys, up with 83 votes. Second is APLD, and third is Hood. Let's get those numbers up there. It's kind of a bad day when the leader doesn't have triple digits. It's super easy to vote, man. You get into that chat, you throw in the $sign, followed by a 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker. Dealer's choice. You guys get to choose what you want, but throw in that $sign. Otherwise, it won't register, and the Chilean Nightmare will have wasted his energy. Shout out to Fabian. Great program there. Let's go on, Joey, to NCLH, Norwegian Cruise Lines. Yes. Where are they at right now? Let's have a look quickly. NCLH, they were up, I think, in the pre. They're still up about 9.5%. Not a bad look. Let's talk about
18% at the peak. There.
18, eh?
18 at the peak, yeah.
Moving back a little bit there, but still 9%. It's not a joke. 9.5%. Q2. 2025 total revenue came in at about $2.5 billion, which is a 6% bump year over year. That sets, though, guys, a new quarterly record for the company. So right offhand, that's good. The GAAP net income, though, did fall to about $30 million. That was down from $133.5 million the prior year. EPS as well, obviously taking a hit down to 7 pennies, due in large part to what they're calling unfavorable currency impact. Now, the US dollar was elevated before it started selling off, and therefore, if you're taking money in from cheaper currencies and having to convert it back into US dollars, you are losing. That's what we call a Forex headwind, okay? And that's what the next topic is here. The foreign exchange losses totaled about a little bit less than $160 million on the quarter, including what they're calling a $122 million non-cash mark-to-market loss from the euro-denominated debt. These FX headwinds were really the primary driver behind that year-over-year net income decline. So a stronger U.S. dollar doesn't really help them, but it's been dropping lately, so we'll have to see how their next quarter does rebound. As well, their guide, we're now talking about their adjusted Q3 EBITDA. They're projecting $1.01 billion on adjusted net income of $571. So they're looking to be a lot more profitable next quarter. We'll have to see if that FX headwind affects them again. And they're forecasting, Joey, Q3 adjusted EPS of $1.14, suggesting strong sequential improvement. And if you're looking for that full year 2025 guide, there it is right there. Adjusted EBITDA of $2.75, adjusted net income of about more than $1 billion, and EPS on 2.5. Never been on a cruise in my life.
Me neither.
But doesn't mean that we can't talk about these numbers.
No, exactly right. So I mean, they're obviously seeing some increase in demand as well too. So that's something positive that we're seeing in NCLH. But you get a massive gap up off of these lows, Sharif. And then I mean, we'll talk about CCL momentarily. But a couple of these cruise lines, have just been on a monster run. So 75% off of Liberation Day lows to where we're currently trading at. So that's a nice look. But see, again, I just think this market was slightly toppy. So you're getting these massive gap ups, and you're seeing it across the board. I'm not trying to compare apples to oranges here, but you see it in the likes of Microsoft and Meta as well too. Big time gap ups, and now you're starting to give a little bit back. But take a look at CCL. Okay. CCL has been on a monster tear as of late, Sharif, establishing new all-time highs there. So that is something really, really big, especially kind of in this industry, in this sector. So CCL up 98% to where we're currently trading at, over 104% from the trough to the peak there. So yeah, I like some of these cruise line looks, and I traded at NCLH this morning as well too. Didn't work out, but
that's okay.
It is what it is.
Adara, you ever been on a cruise?
I was on a cruise once as a child, and I won a ring. They had like a fun little thing where you had to have a draw, whatever. It was a vibe. It made me a cruise celebrity. This NLCH, like, I mean, I know you and I used to talk about these types of patterns.
CLH.
Was this like an island gap or something?
Yep.
I don't know. It's an uggo. This candle, I'm sorry to use the language, it is not the most promising. Not only is it a lower high, Sharif, Joe, and co., but it also is like a gap, a lower high. This is something I'd be looking at as a short tomorrow, and it's not even spready. I do not love this time I am. I dislike how this sets up. I think this is kind of on for a rocky ride. I mean, like, clearly it gapped up. The numbers are good, but this, if you just, like, this intraday chart too, it's just ugly. Ew. It was a short off the top. I don't have much to say here, except, again, does not matter how good your report was. Doesn't matter how much you were initially liked. People came in the morning and they said, I want off this cruise ship, and they sold. You could also argue maybe it's profit taking because of how much it was up. Carvana maybe a bit similar. Initial strong move off the open and then just, so could always argue profit taking, but either way on the daily chart, it is not a pretty picture.
All right, let's go to Nvidia. This is a really interesting story here, Joey. I think you're going to like this one if you don't know about it already. Nvidia, we know, set to resume exports of the H20 back to China. All right, after... Get it, Neil?
China.
Jeez.
That was Neil?
That was Neil.
Wow.
Wow, okay. That was intense, Neil.
All right, Neil.
After receiving assurances from the Trump administration that they were good to go, they were going to get the export license, check, check, check. However, Beijing's Cyberspace Administration, CAC for short, raised national security concerns, guys, requesting NVIDIA submit documents addressing what they're calling potential vulnerabilities and backdoors into the chips. So what are we talking about? Let's get more detailed. They're claiming NVIDIA's chips have serious vulnerabilities, including tracking, positioning, as well as remote shutdown, Joseph. Yeah. U.S. lawmakers have also expressed concern, advocating that there has to be mandatory tracking on these features, especially these exported chips to China. I'll give you your second. Just let me finish. In May, Congress did introduce the Chip Security Act, and they require, in that act, hasn't been signed yet, they require all built-in location verification and security mechanisms for these advanced AI chips. Experts say much of the necessary tech is already embedded into these NVIDIA chips, adding weight to the regulatory pressure on both sides. But the geopolitical tensions, they're not subsiding. They're mounting, baby. Beijing's increased oversight could delay or restrict NVIDIA's comeback in China. We know that prior to the export ban, China was about 20% of NVIDIA's revenue. That's no longer the case. Lawmakers in the U.S. certainly have pushed back on relaxing these export rules under the current administration, fearing it's going to boost AI's or China's AI capability. So Joseph, this is not something new. I did a video about this whole thing on TikTok where I said very specifically that they want to put in these tracking mechanisms. They want to be able to shut that bee down from wherever. And China's not going to have that.
That's exactly what I was just going to say, dude. Do you think China's going to be buying these things if essentially the Americans have control over them? There's no way.
They're not going to want them.
They're not going to want them. They're absolutely not going to want them. We got a lot going on back here.
Shout out to Rush. Shout out to Randy. We got the boys working back there. Yeah. So this is really interesting.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. I mean, we were all happy and giddy when the H20 was back on the table, but now you have these kind of parameters around it. I don't know. Like, China might take a step back and decide, hey, I don't want to get involved in this if you're going to decide to put these tracking devices, have the ability to shut them down.
Hold on. We got to track here.
I don't think we are. Are we? Oh, let's go 89, baby. There we are. Ha ha.
I took a monster dub. We took a 10 banger.
I told you.
Spin the freaking money, man. Where's that? No. We're spinning the money. We just took a 10 banger on this mother. You know what, bro?
I told you to take the shares. Let's go.
It is halted to the upside. Get it, Katina man. Get it, Katina man. Katina man printed up multiple storms on that son of a what?
Wow, these boys printed up storms.
Oh my God. I got literally out at the in at the bottom, out at the freaking high,
Did you just
bro.
hit the flatten?
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
I told you to
baby.
do it, man. Monster.
Good day. That was a bad day. It ended up being a really good day there. Okay.
Monster. Let's
go. All right. Go Figma. Go, baby.
That,
my goodness.
That felt good.
That felt good.
That's $10 right there. That's $10 right there. He's
feel good?
Going to the gym.
He feels fantastic. You still got what?
Yeah.
The Katina man's still holding. The Katina man's still holding the piece, guys. All right, I'm donezo. The Katina man's holding the piece. What a banger that was, Joey Options.
Hopefully Obi didn't short that.
No, he's not going to short it right away, bro. I mean, Obi looks for reversion trades, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
That was exciting. Nice work, brother.
All right.
Let's go.
That's a monster winner.
I'm still in this.
You're still?
Yeah.
You animal.
You're
an animal, bro. I took good shares there. Not that big, but we took good shares. We took good shares. All right. I'm really happy about this one. I'm really happy about this.
Never mind the news. We got Fig out here. Come on.
Get it, Joey.
Close it up. Close it.
Joey, I want you to know, my man.
Yeah.
You are Sorry. You are a lot in the money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm looking at it. I'm still sitting in this trade. So yeah, we're still holding on to the majority of it.
Oh,
so.
That was a monster. I gotta go to the bathroom. Take me out.
Let's go. Bang. See you later. It's 2:00, and we're not going to them just yet. I gotta wait for this thing to open. Attaboy, Katina. Man, love seeing that, brother. Way to crush that, man. Way to crush it. Hopefully the top. What is the top at right now? 93.50. Yeah. So we got a couple more minutes here. We'll chill it. I'm pretty hungry, to be honest with you. So we'll just talk about food, maybe. I don't know. Nah, never mind that. We're talking about Fig. Katina man took shares. Sharif took shares. I'm still sitting in this uphold. Let's go. This is a big time IPO. Is this giving you circle vibes? I think so. And wait for the team to crush it. That was absolutely phenomenal and a monster move off the top, up 183% already. Now we're halted. We're sitting about 4 minutes left in this halt. As soon as that tap hits higher, I'm looking to close out that position. So big time move from the boys. I'm glad to see that one for sure. Yeah, all right. So it's just me here chilling. It's your boy Joe. Waiting for this thing to open again. Maybe I should pull up my screen. That'd be a good idea, eh? You guys want to see what we got going on? Hey, passport chaos. Where are you? Where are you, my friend? There you are. There you go, passport chaos. Way to crush that, dude. If you actually took 10K shares on that, that is insane. Yeah, don't worry about it, Katina, man. We know someone who took 10,000 shares. Let me pull up Fig there. We'll see what we got going on with this one. 93.5. So you can see I did take some out. Boom. limit on open, you get filled at that 85, and then it just decides to rip, and now we're stuck in this uphold. I don't even have the candle on this one. We'll pull up this here. Much better description. Attaboy, Sharif.
No, I got to give credit to the boys too, bro, because the boys were the ones that kind of talked me into this, and they're like, look, man, what are you here for? $96 is the top. $96 now, the theoretical auction price. Oh, baby.
Kevin Costner. A perfect world. We're living in it right now. I love that movie. Go and watch it.
Oh, man. Can you get the whole shot?
What is this?
Getting the whole shot?
You got to watch it, Neil. You got to watch it. A Perfect World, a fantastic movie.
Oh, Ram. I'm going to be nice to Ram today. This is how much of a good mood I'm in right now.
Now you are.
Yeah. Well, I had a good time at the bank earlier, too.
There you go.
So
now you can send some of that my way.
Oh,
no, what you did. There you are, man. Bang. That's what it's done.
Yeah, we're feeling good right now, man. All right, guys. Halted, $93.50, up 183.33%. That is, we're talking about.
As soon as that opens, it's F4.
It's F4, yeah.
Flatten. Is yours F4
yes.
too? Yeah.
Why is your flatten F4? That's crazy.
It's been that way, man.
That's crazy, bro.
It's always been that way.
Yeah, no, but nobody has their flatten as F4. Like, I've never heard about. Yeah, clearly. All right. I'm feeling good about that. All right, shout out to Joey Options.
Yeah.
All right, man. Obviously, we're overtime over here.
Should have took 10,000 shares of that, man.
Yeah. Well, I probably wouldn't have. We're open. Here we go. We're popping back up. It's a $98 high.
Let's go.
Get it, Joey Options. Good trade, Joey Options. All right, here we go again. 98, 99. We're gonna clear 100, boys. Let's go. Yes, here it comes. 99.50 reserve seller. There's a huge seller at 100. There's a huge seller at 100. All right, here we go. We got to keep an eye on the tape. There's the 100. You're going to get blown out, Mr. 100 guy. You're getting decimated, Mr. 100 guy.
Wow, Katina,
there it goes. Keep it going, Katina, man. Great trade, brother.
That's insane.
There goes Figma, baby, up into that 105. We're talking deep earnings today. Look at this thing go. Boom. Neil's freaking out. The Katina man's punching. All right. We are having the time here. There it is, baby. Drop that. Spin the damn money, man. There you go.
I'm out, Joseph Birch. I'm all out of that at 96.
Get it, Katina man. Katina man's cursing. He's pounding tables. We're going to halt here. 108. No, false halt, Joey. 108 and change. We clear that. It's now 110-zer. Let's go. It's a 110 high, Katina man, and we're going to take out that 110 seller. There's a seller here at 110, guys, about 300, 400 lots, a bit more into that 110. It's still a 110 high right now, guys. Can't clear that seller. Let's see if we can get a little closer to it. Let's go, says the Katina man. We're all getting amped up. Watch out, guys. Trade this carefully. You want to be around to be able to trade tomorrow, guys. All right, 205.
Wow.
I know the boys were 25 deep into the.
I thought you were going to say 25 beers deep. I'm not that deep, man.
We're 25 deep. Obviously, the boys gave us a lot of time. Let me know when it's good to send back, because I know you're still in the trade. Do your thing there, brother. So don't worry too much. Just give us the go-ahead when you are ready. All right, guys. I mean, he's not ready. The Katina man is still involved in the trade.
He's not ready.
He gave us 25 minutes. We can give him something. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah,
exactly.
I'm hungry. You know what? I should go get my lunch, and then we could do a quick food review.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well,
You're gonna get your lunch,
I think Katina man's out of it now.
Yeah, I think the Katina man is out of it.
He's hot right now.
Guys, I want to remind you guys, I mean, if you're not voting over here, then what the hell are you doing, right? Get into the chat right now. Get into the chat. Throw in that $sign. Vote for your favorite ticker. Obviously, Figma's leading the way. It's got 114 votes so far. 115. Every time I look, 16. $sign. Then followed by 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker. This has been a fantastic freaking day on these markets. Make it better by giving us,
I gotta go see Obi, man.
Why?
Because I want to see how much he took.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, he probably took a bit.
Right now.
Well, if he's waiting for that mean reversion, then he may be involved in it now. I mean, it is kind of mean reverting back down a little bit here, Joey.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good about this open, though, over here. Look at that bottom wick.
Yeah.
You had that bottom wick, too.
We had that. Pull up the screen, man. We got
Pull up
the screen. Yeah, we got that as well.
That's a great entry,
so
dude.
that's the limit on open right there. Pop.
Yes,
Papa Powell. and you take that one.
Papa Powell.
Yeah, so man.
Get it, Katina, man. It's
104,
popping back,
baby.
guys. It's popping back. 107 high in the current 5-minute candle right now, guys. A 107 high, but here comes that 100 again. It's zigging. It's zagging.
Obi's way too locked in to even text me.
Oh, well,
back,
he's not going to
so
text me. Let
there's
the man
zero
focus,
chance.
bro.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
ask him after,
zero
man.
chance.
15 1/3 million shares, guys. So the shareage coming in fast and furious right now. There's ample liquidity, but the spread is prohibitive. It is 30, 40, $1 at times. So be careful with that. You know, that's the cost of doing business with these ones. The spread is going to be a little bit tight there. So, or wide, excuse me, not tight. So that's what we're keeping an eye on there, Joey. Yeah. Very happy with today. Very happy that we punched into this one. Oversubscribed.
Let's go.
Joey, give him a reason why we kind of got into this. Like you and I were talking about
Fig?
this. Yeah, we saw that $33 IPO price for the institutional buyers.
Yep.
And then we load up the tap, and it's showing us 105. What does that mean to you, Joseph?
There's demand for it. There's a lot of demand for this name. So, I mean, it did cool off a little bit. You got into the 96 or 98.50 or whatever it was. But that tap, we're seeing the exact same thing in Circle. That's a big time trade. I'm glad to have gathered this type of IPO sample set. Now we got the likes of Circle, Webull, and Fig. When you see something like this, best believe, Sharif, I'm going to be going significantly heavier on the
And there
IPO.
it is, Joseph.